Abrí el en vivo y lo primero que vi es que traigo los audífonos puestos y digo, no, ¿para qué tengo los audífonos? Pero ahorita vienen Alex y Parja, no se preocupen. Bienvenidos a otro casino, es tu tío Salo, donde obviamente vamos a analizar absolutamente todo. Vamos a empezar con Bitcoin, como de que no, como Brian ya lo pidió y fue el primero en llegar al chat. No te preocupes, ahora le damos a Bitcoin. Pero también algo interesante que se está dando en el mercado. Uno, quiero que volteen a ver todos los gráficos de todas las compañías de coches, sobre todo las tradicionales, Volkswagen, Ford, Stellantis, hasta Aston Martin, están sangrando como locos. ¿Por qué? Se viene notición desde Europa, ¿no? De toda la gente que está siendo despedida en Volkswagen. Volkswagen dijeron que iban a despedir a 30,000 personas. Acaban de anunciar 15,000 personas. Además de que la Unión Europea está viendo problemas en Alemania. Alemania parece que simplemente no puede levantar, no puede repuntar su producción a niveles anteriores. Japón reportó también su PMI básicamente y estaban esperando algo negativo, pero dentro del punto cero algo, y acabó siendo menos 3.3, que es abusivamente bajo. China, estamos viendo el repunte de China, aunque también podría ser más allá del repunte tan rápido de China, es que la segunda apuesta más grande en corto en todo el mercado va en contra de China. Entonces, lo que podemos estar viendo en este momento y esa fuerza que lleva el mercado chino puede ser simplemente un short squeeze y luego venga un ajuste. Así que pendientes a eso, si ustedes están tradeando el mercado chino, me pondría a verlo, pero sin más ni más, damas y caballeros, vamos a darle como siempre. Voy a traer a estos genios para que les den el análisis que buscan y yo se los traduzco como buen perrito porque es lo único que sé hacer. Así que vamos a darle. Alex, Farhan, how are you, gentlemen?
Doing great.
Doing good.
It's good, good. Oh, before we actually get into it, let me just tell everybody in Spanish. Por cierto, si les gustó el en vivo anterior con Eric Brown, ahí están, en ese en vivo, están todos sus herramientas que pueden usar para analizar el mercado. También tienen ese Quantum Backtester, tienen también el HPDR y otras cosas, así que aprovechen el enlace y si no hay descuento, que chequenlo. Voy a ver si se puede algo, pero pues bueno, es lo que está. All right, either way, boys, let's get going. Have you seen, so China's pumping like a motherfucker. And this is something that I was telling the guys before, in the minute that I had before you guys jumped in. And I was saying, China's pumping like a motherfucker, but also we have to be on short squeeze alert within the price of Chinese stocks. And the reason why is because the second largest shorted trade on the market worldwide was China. So that could be just a momentary lapse. Hang on a second. I might not be. No, wait. Say something, Alex, because I didn't hear you before.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, perfect. I'm sorry. So there's that. There's also Japan collapsing. Did you guys see the PMI in Japan? Came out weak as fuck.
Minus 3%, right? Something like
Yeah,
that.
3 point something%, and they were expecting minus 0.0 something%. That was a whole like fucking. And then Germany, obviously, you're seeing what's happening with Volkswagen. You're seeing what's happening with Stellantis, even though Stellantis, I don't think it's German. You're seeing what's happening with Ford, even Aston Martin. Have you looked at the chart of Aston Martin? I think so, right?
Yeah. It looks
Oh
like,
my,
looks like
dude. Fuck, I know people that invested in that shit when it was like way before he had like tremendous drops. So I hope that they get their money out with the Formula One team. But either way, there's a lot of people asking for the Bitcoin analysis, and I think we should start with that. Who want? Well, you both will do it, but which one of you guys want to start it?
Let me just share this.
And the what was I going to say? Yeah, I mean, it was a good weekend for what we were hoping for. We'll see if we get everything that we were saying, but either way, Alex, floor is yours.
Nice. So, I mean, yeah, the weekend was good. Overall, I mean, we had a lot of chop, and then, once we kind of saw CME open on Sunday, the Bitcoin started to get a little weak. And, I think that was also to do with the Japan news that came out, just like all the things that we're starting to see overall. And also there was more, FUD with the Middle East and potential strike on Israel from Iran directly going into the weekend. So, For me, I didn't find it a coincidence. I mean, what we talked about on Friday as well was, the pullback scenario that for me would make a lot of sense, especially with just overall the time frames and things that I'm watching on Bitcoin across the board. And so to start this analysis, first we have to remember the downtrend on the weekly is now broken. So we need to be on higher low watch, in my opinion. And, a lot of when Bitcoin's kind of just in this up only posture, a back test is very normal. A pullback here makes a lot of sense. And so for today, what I'm very focused on is I'm watching this daily SMA 200. We drew this on Friday, this scenario. And remember, this arrow is representing the consolidation at this SMA 200 on the daily. This is a major spot for Bitcoin. If it can hold here, which right now to the book, this should hold as support. What was lost now is, reclaimed. We hit major resistance overall. And also, we kind of just did go up only. So pullback is very well expected, especially with just how funding was. And also what BBWP is kind of telling us resetting here. And so for me right now, I'm very focused on this daily. We have to really be on the idea of a higher low watch. The daily can represent that more perfectly, in my opinion. And right here is kind of the area that bulls want to hold. We shouldn't close any daily closures, in my opinion, under this daily SMA 200. If we start deviating there, then I have to start looking at the EMA 100 again, which for me right now is the spot, in my opinion, that's a major opportunity zone. Not only because we have a massive breakout zone from this meme line here that's basically been a major support in this range, but also, we'd be retesting this 2-day silver cross. Let me see here. Let me throw on the 55 real quick. Yeah, so here, I think it was on the 3-day actually then. Let me see, because the 2-day is just now silver crossing. We'd be basically testing this 21 here. Right here, we're almost to the 9, so we'd have to look at that on the 3-day, especially with the silver cross still valid. But for me, I'm just getting a lot of confluence around that 61.3 zone. We even call it now 61.3 to 61.6. For me, this is a big opportunity zone overall, because now the trend has shifted. We have to just be on higher low watch, and it makes sense now that we're getting this throwback. Things don't go in up only manners usually, and it would make a lot of sense for us to get a pullback. And even if we deviated this SMA 200, for me to get really bearish, we have to start losing this EMA 100 on the daily. For me, it kind of represents nicely the support zone that we've had. And the fact that BBWP right now is resetting on the daily, and it's still going down. So this still can go down a lot more, as we saw here in basically early June. But overall, I mean, we won. If you're bullish on this, you'd want to bounce here, and then you'd want to see this momentum start expanding, giving bulls the upper hand, forming the higher low. This was a nice dump. I mean, overall on the day, it's at 2.4%. So, that's kind of what I'm watching closely on Bitcoin. I think that this is a big spot. I think that, everyone wants a pullback and then it comes and then everyone's scared or they're shorting. For me, it makes sense we're bouncing here. I think the daily closure will be really key though. And we just have to really not disregard this SMA 200 because big moves come from this point. And we haven't really tested it a lot since it basically got reclaimed here in October. And so it would make sense for us. First, we would want to hold that if we're super bullish, in my opinion. This wouldn't be looked as a back test after reclaiming it. You can see here each and every time in this kind of range we've formed since the beginning of July. Anytime we've come and tested it 1-2 times here, we've lost it, and it's led to pretty big moves down. And so this is why I'm more keyed on watching this zone. There's a nice power of 3s here as well. So is, the third throwback to it after breaking out above it. Is this one going to be the one that holds? And then we get this BBWP expanding up, flipping momentum up. Or do we start losing it? And then do we get this scenario, which then, retesting that 100 from this point right now would still be another 3.8% move. On crypto Twitter, if Bitcoin has gone down from the wick high to that point, let's just say, 7-8%, everyone's going to be at this point pretty bearish. And I think that this will give us the fuel. And like I've been saying, this is giving me a lot of October vibes. We know that, the quarterly, I'm almost certain it's closing today. Yeah. This chart's a lot more cleaner. And it's, still looking good. If you look at this on like a quarterly standpoint, we're still kind of holding this meme range here. We're well above the 9. And this quarterly closing, and especially though this monthly is actually looking kind of insane. So as long as we're still above the 9, which is something I've mentioned, and the weekly is above the EMA 9, especially, which right now we're kind of front running it, but currently sitting right around that 62,000, and then the 21 is sitting right at 61.4. So more confluence to this zone and this potential scenario playing out, where we go and throw this all the way back, retest this. Because remember, we still on the weekly haven't tested the 9 either. Then to me, I'm looking to get long at this point. We did talk about where Tether was on Friday as well. It made sense where it started to bounce. But now we are hitting this daily resistance, which is a massive spot in my opinion. And that's why it kind of, when you look at it on Bitcoin's daily, massive spot. Here we are on Bitcoin USDT. While UST dominance, which is the inverse correlation to Bitcoin, is actually not looking. It's at resistance as well. Bitcoin's at support. Reclaiming this will give us more fuel to go up into this 21, in my opinion. And then at this point, we'd expect a rejection here because the daily actually has a silver cross, to the downside on Tether dominance. So, with BWP this low, with the silver cross to the downside, we'd have to look at this zone. If, let's say, this EMA 100 on the daily gets reclaimed as a huge rejection spot, which I think then will line up with this scenario playing out, because, it's just, we're getting a lot of correlation to that zone. It'd be a nice flush out overall. And I think that, stocks are supporting that slightly. They're still looking okay, but that's kind of what I'm watching. So I'm just sitting on my hands. I think it's still wise to be patient and just wait for this. To me is like the easy trade, because it flushes out all those late longs that got long here. And then, I think shorts will start stacking at this point, calling for 58, 59,000 again. But I just think this will be a major opportunity. So, and I'm getting that. I like the nice confluence with Tether dominance. I think that's nice with the fresh daily silver cross as well to the downside. So.
In motherfucking deed. Farhan, do you want to throw yours?
Yep. And I remember to unmute myself too.
It's Monday, dude. It's just because we had Crown on. That's why.
Yeah, 100%.
That's why. That's why Farhan's operating at top level.
And I got some coffee too.
Oh, that always works. Look, this is how stupid I am. Good morning, Pumpkin.
I brought the big bottle today of water.
By the way, how legit is that? Not a lot of people.
My favorite water bottle that you guys have.
So that was molded in Milan. You would think, the mold for the bottle was done in Milan, which, by the way, who would think that you need to go to like a top firm to design a fucking water bottle? But there you have it.
Yeah. No, I like it. This is a nice design. It's cool. And it holds a lot more water. So that's a
1.5 liters, baby. Let's go.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go. All righty, sir.
Yeah,
Ready.
I'm surprised I'm drinking water, right?
All right, well, you should. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your life, Farhan, but you should drink more water.
It's recommended.
Yeah, I'm taking a little break from the alcohol after my issue yesterday.
Yeah, good old Uncle Booze.
Yeah, I woke up feeling like absolute death, and I had to call up the hangover team.
I saw you got the IV and everything. See, I felt like you probably felt, and I only had 2 glasses of alcohol. That's all it took. Like, I'm so fucking done. I hate being old.
I don't even remember how many shots of tequila I had.
Good for you. Good for motherfucking you.
All right, so I'm going to start with the quarterly on Bitcoin right now.
Mm-hmm.
We got about 9 hours and 12 minutes to go before the quarterly closes.
Mm-hmm.
And let me switch to index, Coinbase. So the difference between the Coinbase chart and the index right now is that on the Coinbase chart, we're above the median and we're about to close above it in 9 hours. But on the index, we are currently below the median. And I would personally put more weight on the index, because an index is a collection of all of the exchanges together, versus like kind of gives you an average, where Coinbase is just the spot exchange. The index includes the futures and as well as all the other spot exchanges as well. So as long as we're rejecting off of the median, it's not exactly like, I don't want to say it's bearish, but it's not super bullish. But what ideally we would like to see is, if we do close below the median, that it will move down on the next quarterly open, and then we will open above it. But if that does not happen and the median moves up, or we stay below the median on the next open, we're very probably going to come back down towards this bottom 38.2% area. And these number ranges are going to move up. So you should take it with a grain of salt right now, because right now this number is sitting at like $20,000.
That's a little scary.
Yeah, but very likely this meeting is probably going to move down, and we probably open our next quarterly open above it. But we won't be able to know until we actually see the confirmation, though. If we go to the monthly, right now the monthly is brushing up against this bottom 38.2%. If we and we are reclaiming the 5 EMA. So traditionally, since the start of this, if you want to call it a bull market in 2023, as long as we've been above the median, we've been on trending moves towards the upside. I mean, the 5 EMA, we've been on trending moves towards the upside. Like when we reclaimed the 5 EMA here in October 2023, after that we had a 112% move towards the upside. So right now we have just
the Jew pump.
Right now we have just we're about to reclaim the 5 EMA, and what I'd like to see is where these ranges, HPDR ranges, move to. But if we do manage to close over these bottom 38.2% at 65,573, let's say 65,600, we get a statistical move towards the median. Right now, the median is sitting at 97,592. This number probably is going to move down a little bit on the next monthly open. I think it's probably going to come down towards that $77,000 to $78,000 number that we've been looking at for the past couple of weeks. But we have to wait until the confirmation for that to happen. And then if we look at Tether dominance, right now Tether dominance is ever since we've lost this 5 EMA, it's been resistance, and now we're once again below this 5 EMA on Tether dominance. The opposite of what Bitcoin is doing, where Bitcoin is reclaiming the 5 EMA, and we're rejecting this mean line. If you go towards the monthly is rejecting the median basically perfectly, and we're finding some support here at this 9 EMA. But as long as we're rejecting the median, we have a statistical probability of coming down towards bottom 38.2%, which is currently at 5.05%. We probably get some type of reaction here, probably get a little bit of even if we're bearish, we're probably on Tether dominance, we're probably going to get a little bit of a pity bounce here. And then we would be looking for Bitcoin to put in a higher low from there. But we don't know. There is a probability that it can just smash right through this 38.2%. Like over here where it just came right through, and it went all the way down straight towards the 88.3%. And if you were to do that this time around, 88.3% is at around 3.40%. And that is a pretty huge move when Tether dominance down. That's around 37% towards the downside. So you'd have to expect a similar move on Bitcoin towards the upside.
To the upside.
Let's check out our momentum chart and see if the 5-day setup is still going strong. All right, so volatility is starting to go down on the 5-day setup right now. While we have this candle, red candle towards the downside right here, but we are finding support at this red meme line while volatility is going down. So that tells you that this is very likely a corrective move, and momentum is still pointed up as long as price is, let's go with this pivot. as long as price is above $55,100, or we're a good amount above $55,100 right now. What we want to see is on this next 5-day open where this pivot goes to, because it probably does go up a little bit, but if as long as it's still below price, the 5-day setup is still active towards the upside. If this flips down, then the 5-day setup is going to be invalidated, and we're going to have to wait for us to go below 15% again, and then expand so we can fire off another one. But right now, as long as price is above this area, momentum is still to the upside, and we're getting a rejection from getting into the bearish control zone, and we're moving up towards. Right now, we're at the neutral zone, the middle, right around 50-55%. We want to break above the 65%, and the momentum will be within the bullish control zone, and that would be aligning with this 5-day setup towards the upside. And once again, the statistics for this 5-day setup is that whenever the volatility drops below 15%, then it expands above it, there's an 85% chance of a 30 to 35% move in the direction of stochastic momentum. So right now it is pointed up, and it started expanding at this point over here, where price was at 56,745. So if we were to take that average move, 56. That brings us to around $73,000 to $76,400. So it aligns with that $77,000 number once again that we've been looking at for the past couple of weeks. Let's see if I can get one of these and see if we have a fibber on there as well. It's a little bit higher right now. It takes us to somewhere around $88,000 if we get a close over this 78.6% at 68,615. But this is going to take several weeks to play out, because each one of these candles is 5 days. Probably sometime around if we do get that confirmation closure above, it probably takes somewhere around 2 or 3 months. If you guys remember the move from $28,000 to $40,000 in October of last year.
Yep.
That took about 2.5 months for that entirety of that move to play out. And then we got a very sharp correction from 48,000 to, I believe, 39,000. And then from there, we went up only to $73,000. But let me check the momentum on Tether dominance. So we have the 5-day setup towards the upside on Bitcoin on momentum, while Tether dominance is giving us the exact opposite move. Right now, momentum is down on Tether dominance as long as price is below 6.23%. So we're getting the exact opposite move on this. Let's check the divergence. You guys remember the quarterly hidden bullish divergence that we had on Tether dominance before, that we've been looking at for the past 2 months?
Yeah.
It is now gone.
Take that. Tether dominance.
It's back again. My bad. I spoke too soon.
Uh-oh.
Well, fuck me. Thanks, Farhan. Thank you. Now I look like an ass. I need to quit.
At 5.41%, if we drop below that number, then it's going to be invalidated again, and we're only above it by 0.02%. So, like, we can have a sneeze and we'll drop below it. We have about 9 hours to go to confirm it. I have a alert set, so I'll be posting on the Discord if we do confirm it or not. I think we're not going to confirm this divergence. I'm looking for a move down before the daily closure, and that will line up with Bitcoin putting in some divergence as well. If you check the Bitcoin chart. So Bitcoin still has that 3 drives of hidden bullish divergence, and this would still be active as long as price is not making a local bottom, and that would be around $49,300. So as long as we're above those numbers and we're getting volatility support towards the upside, we have to assume that price is going to continue the trend towards the upside.
Not bad at all. So we're very bullish still.
Yes, we are in gambling mode, 100x leverage.
Excellent. I hope everyone's just listening and doing it too. Good luck, everyone. No? All right. I'm going to share my screen, see what happens. So, Alex, you got USD MXN, And Farhan, SUI. I think SUI is a cryptocurrency.
Yeah, it's a shitcoin.
Sorry. Fortunately, people here are buying condos with Ondo, so they have a right to look at SUI.
Ondo buys you a condo.
Motherfuckers. Ok, aquí les va. Básicamente tenemos el análisis de Bitcoin, damas y caballeros, y vamos a empezar con Bitcoin Spot. ¿Cómo de que no? En realidad no hay tantas cosas que ver. Hemos estado viendo, venimos de hacer estos altos más bajos, pero por primera vez estamos viendo que tal vez estamos viendo estructura formando bajos más altos. Tienes este alto más alto que este. En este momento, el precio de Bitcoin está cotizando en 63,370 en spot. Y lo que estamos viendo es que hemos perdido el promedio de las 9 en la diaria. Estamos literalmente recargándonos justamente en el S&P 200, el promedio de las 263,720, pero podemos ver bastante confluencia acá en la zona de 61,500 a 61,400 con el promedio del 100 y el 55 tocando esa zona. Cuando vamos a un gráfico de 5 días, podemos ver que el 9 y el 21 justamente también están en el 61,100 y cacho, dirigiéndose para acá. Acabas de tener un cruce del 9 encima del 21, lo que nos hace pensar y seguir bastante alcistas. Yo creo que lo único que tenemos que ver es literalmente, para ahorrarles demasiado choro, es esto, que el precio de Bitcoin, esperemos que tenga una corrección, es lo que estamos esperando. Diríamos que la máxima zona de oportunidad sería que el precio llegara acá y después se fuera a lo que pensamos que probablemente nuestro siguiente objetivo, si rompemos este alto, sean los 77,000. Pero la zona de oportunidad está por acá. La oportunidad también del otro lado, cuando volteamos a ver Tether Dominance, que es exactamente lo contrario que está haciendo Bitcoin, es igual, y probablemente vengas a ver a Tether Dominance darse una vuelta para acá arriba y luego rechazar e ir para abajo. Pero aquí tenemos un cierre que es muy importante y les recomiendo a todos que vayan al Discord, donde Farhan nos va a decir si se va a quitar un drive de divergencia alcista que tendría USDT. Y si eso pasa y lo eliminamos, nos podemos sentir mucho más a gusto de que las cosas van a salir de acuerdo a los alcistas, pero si no, tendríamos un ojo bien pelado. Por ahora, esto se ve bastante alcista, el setup para Bitcoin es bastante bueno, simplemente estamos viendo una corrección, no creo que vaya a más, pero bueno, es lo que es. Alex, whenever you're ready, because I think this one was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, no, it is on Bitcoin. I mean,
Yeah.
the daily is going to be quite important, in my opinion.
Alrighty, here we go, and I agree. USD MXN, just put it for everyone. There you go.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I mean, so as we've been like watching on this chart, it hasn't been looking the best. After we started breaking out, essentially, here we see that we just started after we essentially deviated, rejected major resistance at this point. This was the last place where we kind of chopped around before we had this massive breakdown. We essentially then again had another massive breakdown, losing support. What I find interesting about this weekly, and especially the 2-week, is the weekly silver cross to the downside, and we can see that this 9 has been pretty respected through and through on this downtrend. Consistent lower highs and lower lows. And so right now, what we see on this weekly is, we have massive resistance at 0.05174. So any rallies into that point, in my opinion, are looked at as just another rejection zone supported by the meme line, which we can see, not too much data associated with it, but, it likes to chop around and flirt around this point. And then big moves at this point happen. We've seen that twice now, here and then also here. And so also the 2-week is something I noted as well. On this 2-week chart, it's about to silver cross, and this does close in 4 days, but this just gives more fuel to the idea that this should still go down. I mean, in all time frames, no matter how you view it, even on the monthly, we can see, the monthly is now under the 9, EMA 9 on the monthly is now under the 21. We couldn't even reach 34 on a retest, and now we're still just rejecting the meme line, and forming not even this candle at stick, in my opinion, is really nothing. It's kind of meaningless. It's it's not good. It's more bad just because of the simple rejection point here. Was this the bearish retest on the monthly? Do we have to start looking at these lows now? And I think the quarterly puts it in a perspective that kind of is interesting. We see with this quarterly, we essentially have this massive deviation here for the first time, in a long time since we've lost this 0.0519 level. To me, this is an interesting point that is closing today. So we have to view that. And then to me, it gives just more fuel that rallies into this zone here at 0.05172. Have to be looked at as resistance, which is more represented on the weekly, in my opinion. So yeah, this chart's very, in my opinion, the chart's looking very bearish. The best case scenario here is that we actually do consolidate. Maybe we grind under resistance. We have this EMA 9 start coming more down, giving at least bulls some at least maybe a chance to, if they do squeeze up, that we can reclaim that. But especially as long as the monthly is under the EMA 9, which it's healthily below, we have to start looking at lower prices. And for me, the next major zone is this 0.054538. On more that macro view, and it makes sense to me. I mean, when the weekly is now under the SMA 200, it also is in a silver cross. The 2 weeks about to silver cross. To me, we have a lot of recipes for just a major dump. The only thing I can say is it can stay at extremes for a while. Let me see here. Yeah, I mean, it was in extremes at this point for at least 3 months. So it can stay in extremes for a while, and it hasn't even hit it fully. And so this can keep expanding. But this kind of plays into what I'm mentioning here is bulls really just want some consolidation here. That'll get the weekly, but especially the daily out, and start actually resetting it, flipping it down. But even on the daily, we can see here, this is just simply tap the 9 on the daily. We're just starting to reject it again. So, if you're bullish here, you'd have to start looking at this potentially as, maybe a shift on the daily. You'd want this low not to get taken out, which, to be fair, I mean, I guess on a Forex standpoint, it is up half a point today. But as long as it's under the 9, it has more momentum to break down. And that would just be a front run thesis. To me, it's more actionable once we start reclaiming this high. To me, that puts us then well above the weekly 9. And also, getting back above there would be a very welcoming sign. We haven't gone back above there since this fake out here in July 8th. So getting a weekly closure, especially back above, 0.052, to me would be a really welcoming sign. But then we just can't disregard this SMA 200. You see that when charts are heavily bearish and they're just very broken down, like what we see, it's extremely hard for bulls to actually reclaim control because, the structure and just the structure of the chart just gets really, the integrity just gets really broken a bit, and then, to be mindful of that, if we do start getting a rally up into the zone, if this does silver cross, we'd have to look first at this 9 on the 2 week as a major resistance, and maybe wicks up to this 100-year. What I find interesting is we really haven't retested this 9 in a very long time, actually, which does show the weakness. The weekly 9 has just been massive resistance. And so it makes sense why we haven't really been able to test the 2 week. And then to kind of put it all together on the 2 week as well, we're nicely below the SMA 200. So on all time frames, it's looking bad. The only opium I have for bullishness is if we actually can reset this momentum oscillator on the weekly, 2 week, monthly, and then slowly start, maybe grinding up and consolidating. But then even then, it's like at this point, staying under this SMA 200 history has shown has just been pretty bad overall for the chart. It really hasn't had a lot of data of reclaiming it. So, for it to now flip it back under it, isn't the best, especially with how the quarterly is looking. So, that has implications because we know this dump here was from 2020. It seems like overall this chart dumps massively when like big events happen or when just things in the economy or just global markets aren't doing the best. So, it's just something to be mindful of. Yeah, the chart to me is looking quite bearish. Even just like Interested to see how the 6 month looks. Any kind of OPM. And no, we can see even in 3 months closing, but we can see this is freshly losing this 9 here. It losing this meme line range on the quarterly that's closing will give a lot. Probably could be like a forcing event on the 6 month that we might not reclaim this 9 and hold it, and if we start losing it, that just wouldn't be a good sign overall. So this chart's like in the beginnings, I guess. It's just in the breakdown. There's really nothing to be bullish when it's in a breakdown. The trend is down. That's on all time frames, and if you're playing consolidation, then that's cool. You can just then wait patiently because you at least know that this pairing likes to move when it is above its weekly EMA 100. And so, we start reclaiming that, then you'll know we're above the 9, the SMA 200, the 21, the 34, and then we're solidly above this 100, probably negating the silver cross to the downside on the weekly. But as long as all that's happening and the 2 weeks about to silver cross, which then has implications for the monthly, getting setting up for a silver cross, because we already see this fresh 9 under the 21, it's just better to be cautious and wait. And then if you're shorting it, then the trend's your friend. Look for another lower high. That probably could come in right around this 0.05173 zone, in my opinion, because that's just what the history of this chart has shown us. If not, then we have to look at this SMA 200 on the weekly as a second point of resistance. Start reclaiming that. Okay, then a bigger rally will probably happen, and we probably test this zone here, right by this 34, right where the 100 is. And then for me, that's going to be the next major short opportunity. So that's all I have with that. Not looking the best. Not a lot of bullish OPM. If you're a major bull, just want consolidation. You just want those oscillators to reset, essentially.
If you're a major peso bull against the dollar, you haven't learned anything. Right about now. All right, for you afterwards, UPS, senor, por favor.
All right.
I'm going to present this, but I'm going to do it upside down because it's easier for people to read the $19 per peso rather than the half one. But it's, the same fucking chart, right?
So, yeah.
Ok. Les voy a poner el mismísimo chart, la misma tabla que vio Alex, pero invertida. Yo les voy a poner el dólar primero en contra del peso para que sea más claro el precio, en mi opinión, para la gente que está apenas empezando. El dólar está cotizando, básicamente el peso está cotizando a 19.6 pesos por dólar, casi es donde está en este momento el precio. Estoy viendo una tabla trimestral, cada una de estas velas son 3 meses, cada una de estas líneas verticales me parece, cada que recuperamos cierto exponencial, veamos, vamos a ver si lo puedo ver acá. Es básicamente cada que venimos a retestear el 21. Retesteamos el 21, lo tomamos y tienes estos subidones. No, es otra cosa, en otra temporalidad. Pero todas estas han sido básicamente oportunidades gigantescas donde el peso pierde demasiado terreno contra el dólar. Lo fue en COVID, lo fue en el 2013 y lo fue en el 2008. Pueden ver, los subidones son bastante considerables, sobre todo acá estás hablando de 58% y de nuevo, estás hablando de monedas, del dólar contra el peso. 58%, acá tuviste un 82% de devaluación en el peso, acá tuviste un casi 40%, por lo que el promedio más o menos sale entre 40 y 50% de estos movimientos y estamos ante el mismo tipo de movimiento en este momento. Vamos a ver dónde estamos parados desde la parte de abajo, a donde ha llegado el precio hasta arriba, 24, donde sería un 40%, justamente la zona de los 22.89. Ahora, voy a ponerles acá justamente los promedios y podemos ver que el 9 está abajo del 21, pero en este momento el precio está por encima de esos precios. ¿Y esto qué dice? Que muy probablemente el 9 vaya a trepar encima del 21, mínimo. ¿Por dónde está esto? Le faltan 5 horas y 47 minutos para cerrar esta vela. Si cierra así, estos promedios van a subir y probablemente se vayan a invertir. Así que tenemos que tener ojo y pendiente a esto, que literalmente va a pasar en ¿cuánto? 5 horas 47 minutos. Ok. Eso es lo que estamos viendo en la trimestral. Vamos rápidamente a la mensual. La mensual, que es un poco más a corto plazo, podemos ver que el 9 se fue por encima del 21. Vamos justamente a retomar los promedios más lentos van a pasar el 100, que es el rojo, y el 55, que está acá, que tuvo un cruce plateado en marzo del 2023 y vimos este fondo acá en abril del 2024, un año después. Por lo que si vemos un cruce plateado en la mensual a la alza, podemos esperar a que esta tendencia continúe mínimo por un total de un año, por lo que si ya llevamos 1, 2, 3, 4 velas para arriba, todavía probablemente veamos 6 más. Así que en la mensual también se ve bastante alcista. Vamos a ver en 2 semanas, temporalidad de 2 semanas, que es justo lo que decía Alex. Está a punto de haber un cruce plateado por acá. Cada que hay un cruce plateado, importa. Quiero ver si es de acá, lo sacamos de 2 semanas. No, pero también acá está pasando, da igual. Y podemos ver, estamos arriba del promedio de las 200, rebotando justamente en él. Habíamos creado este alto más alto en los 20 pesos con 22 centavos por dólar y ahorita estamos creando un bajo más alto. Entonces, si volteas a ver simplemente tendencia en esta temporalidad, tuviste este bajo que es la M de McDonald's invertida y tienes este subidongo. En este subidongo estás creando este bajo y este bajo y estás haciendo alto, alto, alto y ahora te falta un nuevo alto. En la semanal, vamos a ver rápidamente en la semanal, podemos ver que ya tuvimos un cruce plateado a la alza y creo que sí, eso es justamente lo que vemos acá. Cuando tenemos cruces, no, ni siquiera es eso tampoco, no tengo ni idea, voy a buscarlo después. En esas verticales que me están llamando, pero no sé por qué. El precio está justamente también rebotando fuerte encima del promedio de las 200, que está en 19. El 21 está acá en los 18.68, abajo del 9, lo que nos está indicando bastante fuerza en el movimiento. Y de nuevo, estás creando altos más altos, bajos más altos. Esto es una tendencia alcista bastante dura. En la diaria ni se diga, en la diaria acabas de recuperar este zampompazo que llevábamos. Por muy poco tiempo el 9 se bajó debajo del 21, pero lo volvió a retomar y ahora vino a recargarse en él. Hizo un front run, ni siquiera lo tocó y va para arriba. Esta es una zona bastante importante en los 19.57 pesos por dólar y va a seguir empujando a la alza. Así que siguiente objetivo sería el 20.6 y de ahí para arriba. O sea, no hay tantas cosas que hagan o nada en realidad que nos haga pensar que esto se ve bajista para el dólar en contra del peso. Simplemente una absoluta patada en los huevos para toda la gente en pesos que han perdido, si vives en México, digamos, o si vives en Estados Unidos y haces tu dinero en dólares desde abril del 2024 hasta hoy, 20%, una quinta parte de tu dinero se fue al culo en valor, pero en lo que hemos tocado hasta arriba, casi 25%, o sea, una cuarta parte básicamente. Impresionante la fuerza que lleva el peso contra el dólar. Vale, tíos, vale. All righty, let's go on to SUI, Farhan's greatest meme coin.
I thought it was XRP. That's Farhan's favorite meme coin.
Which one?
XRP.
Oh, yeah.
Sir, how dare you call the future of France a meme coin?
Are we not serious in this place or what?
Future of France is going to $589.
That's right.
It was actually lost. It was lost in translation. Satoshi's real Bitcoin was XRP.
Was it XRP? I see. It all makes sense now.
It's just people didn't speak Satoshi.
So on the monthly on SUI, we're getting this little bit of like, I guess you could call it a reversal candle, and we are reclaiming all of our major moving averages. We are also on the verge of closing above the 50% range. So if we close above there, we have a statistical probability, more likely than not, retesting this 38.2%. And right now that number is at $2.30. And our HPDR momentum is starting to flip back up from the lows, and it's getting back out of the bearish control zone while volatility is flipping down. So whenever you have a setup like this, you have a statistical probability of retesting the median. And right now, the median sits at $3.70 all the way up here. That is from where we sit currently, that's like 100% move, which is not too bad. Let's check the
Wait.
quarterly.
Yeah, because we're at 1.7, right? That's the price.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, your
So
chart was different than mine.
We don't have that much data right now on to really populate a quarterly, and we are just starting to get our 5 EMA here. So you can't really get very much useful information out of this, but it is technically making a higher low, and now we are on the verge of an uptrend. We just need to make another higher high, and then we'll be on a trending move towards the upside. Right now on the weekly, we have reclaim of the 5 EMA on the last weekly, the one before the last weekly open. And on this coin, whenever we're above the 5 EMA is whenever price is trending towards the upside. Like over here, and then whenever we lost the 5 EMA, we started trending towards the downside. Here, we were rejecting the 5 EMA, trending towards the downside. Now we're once again above the 5 EMA. But I would not look for continuation right from this zone. It's more likely that we end up consolidating and pulling back a little bit because we're in such extreme areas of the HPDR bands. We're above the 88.3%, so you have a very low statistical probability of continuation from this area. What's very more likely to happen is that we consolidate, maybe come back down towards this 5 EMA again, base off of it, and then on the next weekly open, we will look for these ranges to move up, and then we can do continuation from there. Let's check the RSI. We don't have very much data at all. This coin. How new is this coin? I mean,
very new. I mean,
Yeah.
it literally came out May 2023, so it's been a year and some.
We don't have any active divergence on there. On here. We have on the 2-day, we have a drive of bullish divergence. It still has not been invalidated yet because we don't have a local bottom. But we've already hit our easy targets, and we've broken to the bullish critical zone, while at the same time our volatility is at extremes at 98% for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 closures. So we have about almost 2 weeks of extreme volatility. And volatility is programmed to contract after it reaches extreme levels, and it's programmed to expand after it reaches extreme levels towards the downside. So like we were looking at before on the HPDR bands, where I was mentioning how it's very unlikely that we continue from here because we're at such extreme levels. So we are probably going to consolidate, which is what the BWP is telling us as well, consolidate a little bit while volatility starts to reset. And then from there, we'd be able to move back towards the upside. And if we look at the VMP right now, the VMP is also switching around from this light blue into a white neutral signal. So from here, this also coincides with us very likely consolidating and pulling back a little bit. So right here, we do have a silver cross confirmed on September of 2024. So this was this current month. We've confirmed it. We have yet to retest this 9 EMA yet. So it would make a lot of sense if we get a close. We would ideally like to see as a close over this candle wick. Let's draw a little bit of a mean line for it. If we close above this area, and then we'd be looking for the 9 EMA to move up, retest the 9 EMA while our volatility starts contracting, and then from there we could move up towards making our next move towards the upside. But right now, I'd be looking for consolidation and a pullback while volatility resets, and then we could make our higher high on the uptrend.
Very nice, sir. Thank you so much. So are you buying a lot of SUI?
Oh yeah, I'm going balls deep in that.
All right. I got Ecopetrol for you after. Holy shit. Let me send it on the group chat 1 second, because this is quite a mouthful. Pretty sure that's some Colombian bullshit. All right, here we go. Thank you. Estamos viendo SUI, damas y caballeros, y como de que no, en la mensual tenemos muy pocos datos. Esta moneda salió apenas, nos bendijo con su presencia en mayo del 2023 hasta apenas, y hemos visto que está creando un bajo más alto. Esta es una tabla mensual, y podemos ver que por fin se empezó a popular el promedio de las 9, que está sentado en 1.1, y el precio de SUI en este momento está en 1.77. Cuando volteamos a ver todos los instrumentos, bueno, todos los índices que tiene Farhan de volatilidad y momentum, creemos que eventualmente, una vez que en temporalidades más cortas se dé un poco de consolidación de precio para que todos los promedios bajen, simplemente porque la volatilidad está en extremos y está sobrecomprado. Creemos que el siguiente objetivo será los 2.3, pero antes de eso los quiero llevar a la semanal para que lo puedan ver, porque lleva bastante fuerza el precio desde que el 9 superó el 21 por acá. Esto fue el 9 de septiembre, y pueden ver el movimiento que ha tenido hasta arriba desde entonces, que viene desde acá hasta el tope. Es un 90%, bastante bueno. Pero lo que estamos viendo ahora es que está todo en extremos, por lo que creemos que el precio muy probablemente vaya a empezar a ranguear por acá, y esta es una zona importante a no perder, el 1.50. Es donde creemos que el precio probablemente consolide y empiece a rebotar. Todos estos promedios vengan a soportar el precio, y de ahí te dé suficiente momentum para llevarte acá. Sobre todo en la de 2 días, es donde todo está sobre absolutamente vuelto loco, básicamente. Tenemos al 9 por encima del 21, y eso pasó acá atrás, y pueden ver la expansión del movimiento que se ha dado. Estamos por encima del promedio de los 200 en la de 2 días, por encima del promedio de la 100, bastante bueno, y el 55, tienes tu cruce plateado a la alza que se dio justamente acá, y el movimiento continúa. Pueden ver que la 9 está justamente en 1.5083, y es por lo que también coincide con nuestra área de soporte, y creemos que el precio de SUI va a empezar a ranguear por acá tantito, en lo que todos los indicadores de momentum y volatilidad se resetean, porque en este momento tenemos volatilidad extrema, momentum a la baja, y eso quiere decir que también la volatilidad va a irse al otro lado, lo que nos dice que va a haber un movimiento correctivo. Así que esperen ese movimiento correctivo probablemente en esta zona, y de ahí ya puedes ponerte objetivos con tu SUI de ¿cuánto? 2.3, y eso es un máximo histórico para SUI una vez que lo logra. Así que ahí lo tienen, damas y caballeros. Vámonos con UPS, con UPS.
So, I mean, UPS is pretty straightforward. The chart's been just telling us exactly what we should be viewing. On the daily, we see this SMA 200 on the daily. Anytime we've essentially tapped it since losing it in August 10th, we essentially, it's been a big rejection point. What makes it easy too is right now, this 140, 143 is lining up nicely with also the weekly, right around this EMA 34 on the weekly. Also, another major rejection point overall in UPS. And so why I said this is pretty straightforward is because we know exactly kind of, to me, if we turn this EMA 55 off, where, if we start actually reclaiming this 34, that basically, this EMA 34 on the weekly, that basically will tie in or be meaning that we're shifting the daily. We're now reclaiming this SMA 200, which is kind of the last major chart we need to reclaim for bulls to actually get, actually to gain some strength and control on the chart. BBWP is expanding from actually resetting all the way down to zero. And so right now what we see is the expansion can still happen, and we easily can still keep going up all the way up to this 80%, which to me gives bulls more momentum of actually testing this zone. The big question will be, though, is if it actually holds. If it does actually hold, then to me, this SMA 200, as long as it holds, it makes an easy long up to 152. If we start rejecting before then, as shown here on the 4-hour, if we start actually coming down, to me, testing this 130 zone, which lines up around where the daily EMA 100 is, right around 134, I would look at that as a throwback, and that should hold if theoretically if we start potentially rejecting here. But as long as we're above it, we opened above. Bulls still have momentum, and they are still holding the level they need to hold as viewed on the hourly. It's very obvious to see if we start losing this and we start coming down, we easily can go and retest this 130 zone, in my opinion, on a lower time frame. Overall, though, on the weekly, it's pretty, again, evident, as I mentioned, just watch the 34 in that daily SMA 200. Why make it harder, especially when we have zones that each and every time UPS has tested it, it's rejected it. Again, lining up nicely with this 21 here on the 2 week now. And so to me, it's if you're gonna long it, the easy long is just to wait for the back test of this EMA 100, and then if you miss it and we start moving up, to me another easy trade would potentially be either a short, but we know the more times this get tested, the weaker it gets. But to be fair, it's only really been tested one time now, and the reaction here was pretty exasperated. Like it was aggressive down. And so if we get another tap here, I'm going to look at this zone as a rejection zone, even if we, even if we get some kind of reaction, it definitely, to me, would make sense because we're just getting all these time frames corresponding with that. If the daily starts reclaiming that SMA 200, to me, then it gives fuel for us to go higher, and then it could bleed into the weekly, actually reclaiming this 34. In doing that, to me, then this will just be a massive shift, which was viewed first on the daily, bleeds into the weekly, and then testing this 150 area is another massive level for UPS. Let me just go to the monthly here. We see here that, testing that 150 zone, if we even do break this 140, which I, again, like that it's represented on the monthly even too, which would be a nice test of the monthly EMA 9. And then 144 is that EMA 100 on the monthly, which, to be fair, UPS, not a lot of data with it, but doesn't really like to be below it, for too long. So we'd have to view this first as resistance from this rejection, and any rallies into that is still respected. But if UPS can start reclaiming this 150 zone, to me, it'll throw this 9 all the way up and support it. And then that's kind of where big moves start happening once that monthly 9's reclaimed and then flipped up. The fast moving oscillator or moving average has been kind of an opportunity zone. When UPS is trending very bullish, in my opinion. We see that here. Any taps of the monthly 9 was just a major opportunity. Losing it, and rejecting it, oftentimes it then acted as major resistance. And so, to me, that's kind of what we have to view this zone at first. And then, if, like I said, the first point of right now, bulls are really trying to step in and reclaim this. Especially with BBWP expanding, this is the first step, in my opinion, is actually reclaiming this EMA 100. But as history has shown us, that's a good spring to take us to the 200, and then rejecting there again will just be a big decision maker for this chart. Starts reclaiming it, has implications for the weekly, and then I'm going to be viewing this 150 area as the next major rejection zone, and then we'll be on basically higher low watch, because if we do break up and we start reclaiming this, to me, then I'm viewing this last major lower high here at, what was it, $140.15 as a big point. So if we start actually breaking above there, to me it solidifies the shift that we visually see, but also in trend on the daily. And then, to me, that'll just give us a lot of momentum to actually test this 152. If we start rejecting, we just then need to be on higher low watch. But, if you're bearish, then you have to just treat the chart what it's always done. So consolidate above the EMA 100, rallies up, rejects the 200, and then that's where we get another lower low. And that's just, again, shown on the weekly as well pretty nicely. This just been a big point. So when you see that and you see it, respect a moving average on all time frames, be it the 2 week, even the monthly here. And we know how important this EMA 9 is on the monthly, especially for a stock like UPS. To me, it makes an easy trade because you know exactly where you're wrong on this trade on most, all the way to even a daily. And then you also know where you're right. If we do start coming up and rejecting this, zone here. Okay, now we know the monthly, the 2 week, the daily, it's all in the resistance. So I need to be watching, probably shouldn't be longing there. And I should be more in defense mode just because of the levels we are at. Reclaiming this 100 makes a lot of sense. Then to me, if we start reclaiming this 100, it has pretty good implications actually. Reclaiming the 100, getting back above all the 21 to 34 has basically been bull mode for UPS. So first step though is reclaiming that and the 9. So luckily for us, it's all right around the same area of all the resistance I mentioned before. So, ideally we get consolidation and then we're setting the BBWP, getting that expansion up, breaking the daily structure, shifting it, and then expanding that 152. Would be the bullish scenario. There's the big decision. Do we just blast off? Probably not. Then it's okay. Now I'm on higher low watch, but that's all just bull hopium for now because we're still under all the major points of resistance that we keep rejecting on this downtrend for multiple months. So better to be defensive or watch the throwback of the daily EMA 100 to target the 200. Very simple. Oh, I think you're muted, Aljo.
Indeed, motherfucker. Indeed.
Monday.
Indeed, altogether. Yes, Monday. Let's take it easy. Afterwards, we got Roblox for you, Alex.
Perfect.
It's a fun one. Ok, tenemos acá UPS y podemos ver que estamos en una tendencia bajista, pero puede que estemos viendo una reversión en ella y es lo que todo el mundo está básicamente esperando. Cuando ponemos esto en una gráfica mensual, puedes ver que estás por encima del 21, encima del 9 y empiezas a colgarte por acá. Ahora, este punto por acá del 154 es bastante importante porque puedes ver el promedio de la 100 estando ahí y ahorita vas a ver por qué. Lo primero que tienes que ver acá es, normalmente cuando rompes, en la tabla semanal no se ve tanto, pero cuando nos vamos a la diaria puedes verlo mucho mejor. Cada que tienes una ruptura del promedio de la 100, que es la roja que va bajando, es básicamente un imán al 200. El 200 está por ahí de los 143. Aquí, esta zona va a ser tu zona más importante para poder validar todo. ¿Por qué? Porque acá tienes esta zona que normalmente es una zona de rechazo, como lo puedes ver acá, y acá ni siquiera llegó a tocarlo. Lo que si te dice, puedes romper los 143, tu siguiente objetivo va a ser simplemente este máximo local para poder empezar a crear estructura alcista, que está en los 143.87. UPS está cotizando en 136.08. Pero cuando lo volteas a ver en la diaria, pueden ver instantáneamente que el 9 está por encima del 21 y hemos tenido este movimiento de expansión a la alza. Esta es una vela de tope acá, pero esta vela cerrando tal cual en 4 horas en los 136 o arriba de los 135 te va a dar la sugerencia de que esto va invalida esta vela de tope y este movimiento sigue dándose. Sobre todo cuando ves la mensual, y ahora vamos a ajustar los tamaños por acá, puedes ver que le encanta al precio estar encima de la 9. La cosa es, hemos estado siendo rechazados desde acá, desde que la perdimos en marzo del 2022, pero se queda encima por mucho tiempo. Desde el 2009 básicamente se quedó trepada hasta acá, que la perdió en el 2020, casi. Así que puedes ver que esa es una zona importante y de nuevo, aquí tienes una vez más, por acá esta zona de los 152, lo que probablemente nos vaya a llevar ahí. Sencillo. En la diaria, esperar a ver, 1, que el precio continúe en este movimiento, ya retomando el promedio de la 100, que está en los 134. 2, ver acá en los 143. ¿Dónde sería tu oportunidad de entrada? Tu oportunidad de entrada sería otro retesteo. Está en un long en los 134, que es donde está el promedio de la 100. Segunda posibilidad sería un short acá en los 143, que es donde está el promedio de las 200. O en caso de que confirmara y se trepara encima de esto, sería tu siguiente oportunidad de long, viendo que puedas romper este alto y de ahí te dirigirías a buscar los $153. Por ahora tienes la estructura perfectamente bien hecha, tienes este mínimo, estás creando altos más altos y se trata de simplemente ver esta zona en UPS. All right. SUI Ecopetrol.
It's like a gas company, energy. Yeah, integrated works. All right, so we're going to do the monthly first. This is kind of breaking down a little bit on the monthly. We have lost the blue 38.2%, and we're bouncing currently off of the 61.8%. We're waiting for this monthly close. If we close below this wick low right here, let's draw a line. At $8.59. If we get any type of close below there, we're very likely going to revisit this wick low over here, which is right around $6.28. And since we've already tested it once before, we're probably going to end up breaking that low and going a little bit lower. And based off of what the HPDR ranges are, I would say that we probably go somewhere around $5.73, $5.70, just below that $6 number. And then from there, I would expect at least some consolidation and maybe a mean reversion bounce. And based off the HPDR momentum is breaking into the bearish control zone as well, while volatility is expanding. So we haven't enough juice from volatility to break these previous lows and go a little bit lower. And the jewel right now is flipping over, curving over into a dark blue sell signal, and it's about to break into the bearish control zone as well. Switch to the quarterly. Right now on the quarterly, we are getting a sharp move down, and we're below the median as well. So as long as we close below the median, our target would be the bottom 38.2%, which right now is at $7.27. Once again, because we have this wick low here, and we're about to close below that previous wick low, we're probably going to break the 38.2% and go down to the 50%, which is around $6.45. Let's check the RSI. So right here on the quarterly RSI, we have a drive of hidden bearish divergence that we're about to confirm. And that we're probably very likely going to confirm it as long as price is closing below $10.29. We're going to confirm that divergence. And our first target is going to be the bearish control zone, which we are very close to right now. The bearish control zone sits at $5.99. It's right around that high $5 to low $6 number that we've seen in the HPDR is where our target is going to be for the hidden bearish divergence as well. And then we look at the VMP, and that's also curving over into this white neutral signal. And then from there, it's probably going to give us this dark blue sell. Let's go to the monthly. Monthly doesn't really have much. Weekly, nothing. 5-day, nothing. 3-day. So right now, the daily does have a drive of bullish divergence within the bearish control zone. So that would it wouldn't tell us that like a reversal signal towards the upside. It would just tell us that we should be looking for a mean reversion from this move down. Because we had how much of a move down so far? Let's measure it. We've moved down currently about 14 to 15%, which because we're all degenerate gamblers from crypto, 14-15% doesn't seem that much, but for an energy company, that's pretty significant within the span of 1 month.
I would say so.
But yeah, so we should be getting somewhat of a mean reversion bounce, and then by that point, the hidden bearish divergence will confirm, and then we should be looking for a continuation of trend towards the downside. Let's see what our momentum pivot is. So right now, as long as price is below $11.70, quarterly momentum is still strongly towards the downside, and we're a good amount below $11.70, and it's rejecting getting out of the bearish control zone. So it's staying healthily in the bearish control zone, and it's about to break into the bearish critical zone. See, the monthly momentum is down as well, as long as it's above $11.70, while volatility is starting to tick up as well. So it's looking pretty bearish on no matter which setup you look at. On the RSI momentum, stochastic momentum, the HPDR ranges is all looking extremely bearish.
It's on the short term, it seems like it wants to do just a little bounce up, probably retest the 9. Let's say that it's at 903 or the 21, perhaps at 925, and then continue down, right? Just based on everything that you said, that's the most likely scenario to play out.
Yeah, because we have that bullish divergence on the daily.
On the
So
daily.
So we should be looking for somewhat of a mean reversion bounce.
Yeah. Touche, senor. Thank you so much. And then I got a fun one for you. Tesla.
Nice.
That shit's about to fucking hit that top and then go down faster than my penis after seeing a fat lady. And the reason why is because on the 10th, in 10 days, we're going to have the presentation of the autonomous car. And then in 10 days, everyone's going to be like, that's it. It can only drive itself. It can only make me money. It can only go everywhere. That's disgusting. And then they're all going to sell like they always do. That's my guess. But we'll see. You look at that chart and you tell me if I'm right or wrong. Just say that I'm right, please. I need this.
Yeah, you're right.
I need this. Thank you. Thank you. Ok. Vamos a empezar con Ecopetrol. ¿Cómo de que no, damas y caballeros? Es una compañía de energía. Energía brava, energía potente. Simplemente lo estamos viendo en todas las temporalidades. Les estoy poniendo acá el tradicional. ¡Wow! ¿Qué nivel? Esta madre estuvo a cierto punto a $67.84. Eso es el alto más alto que ha creado. El bajo más bajo que ha creado está en los 5.22. En este momento Ecopetrol está cotizando en 8.92. En todas las temporalidades esto se ve muy bajista, menos en la diaria. Y en la diaria ahorita les voy a explicar por qué. Empezamos en la mensual. Puedes ver que estamos abajo de los promedios más importantes. Déjame prendo el 55, que no lo tengo acá. Y efectivamente, como perdimos el 100, nos rechazó acá. Y una vez que perdimos el 9 por acá, ¡pum! Caída. Intentamos retomarlo, caída. Pero donde aparentemente no le gusta engañarte es en el 100. Si puedes estar y romper encima del 100, eso se ve bien, pero por desgracia el 100 está en los $15.82 y en este momento de nuevo estamos cotizando muy abajo del 9 y el 21. Esto es en la mensual. En la semanal nos acercamos un poco más y podemos ver literalmente más de lo mismo. Puedes ver bajos más altos más bajos. Estás viendo bajos más bajos. Probablemente vayas a limpiar esta zona, este bajo de 8.55 pronto, pero tienes un cruce plateado acá a la baja, donde estás por abajo del 9 también. Eso quiere decir que probablemente el precio va a ir a buscar el 9. Sobre todo cuando nos acercamos en la diaria, aquí es donde entre todas las tablas encontramos algo alcista. Y esto es, estás justamente siendo rechazado del 9, cayendo del 8.93. Muy probablemente vengas a buscar entre la zona de los 9 y los 9.25 en la diaria a cierto punto. Esa va a ser una oportunidad para entrar en un short, porque en temporalidades altas esto nos indica que probablemente vayamos a visitar la zona de los 6.28. Todo para abajo, todo a la baja. Una compañía eléctrica que en un mes de energía que ha perdido básicamente casi 15% de su valor total en un mes, dirías que no se ve bien la cosa, y menos cuando volteas a ver al petróleo en estos momentos. Así que atención por acá. Atención. Alrighty, let's go to Roblox.
Nice. So, I mean, this chart, I'm not muted. This chart looks actually kind of interesting to me. We can see, this was a nasty rejection on the last weekly we had. I mean, this was a big shooting star. And so now what bears are looking for is that follow through on this weekly. What bears are looking for is basically another EMA 9 retest, which would basically be the first point where the algos and bulls would start bidding, because we have a silver cross to the upside on the weekly. But we can't disregard that this was a big deviation and massive rejection. So that's kind of what bulls are looking for into this week. Bears really want this EMA 100 to reject. Getting back under this EMA 100 will then really start giving bears momentum again, kind of like what we saw here, where this was a big rejection point after breaking out. Rejecting here, forming that shooting star to then follow through, kind of was a big dump from that point. And so that's kind of what bears are wanting. But we just have to be mindful that we do have the 9 supporting that the move down with the silver cross. So, if you're bullish, you'd ideally want this zone to be a big zone for bulls to step in. When we start dissecting it more and looking at it more on like a 2-day, let's say, it starts looking more ugly to me. And so, this deviation is pretty fresh. And so like a bounce at least back up to this zone wouldn't surprise me. But, especially the way the 2-day closed under the 9, a big point of support that's been holding us since we reclaimed it in August. it's something I'm being mindful of, that, we definitely could come down more. Roblox is in a nice uptrend now, and we see that from this last higher low here. It's in a clean, uptrend, structures, higher highs, higher lows. And so what bulls really want is essentially they don't want this low to get taken out. This low that was formed on September 5th, right at $42.33. To me, if we start breaking that low on the 2-day, it definitely could lead into us aggressively dropping more back to this $40 zone. I think that $40 zone is quite important for bulls to hold, especially when we start viewing it on a daily chart now. If you start looking at this on a daily, we see we lost to 21, an area that, again, has been holding us up since we reclaimed it back in August. We tried to rally up to it. We're now rejecting it. The 34 is holding us, but not by much. And so we see here, we start losing this 34 in the daily. It usually leads to us retesting this 100, EMA 100, and that's a pretty big drop from here. And that's why it kind of solidifies, if you view it on the daily, 2-day, what I'm seeing on the weekly, which is, right around this $43.30, $43.60, maybe even a wick to $42.61. That is literally where bulls want to start stepping in. If they don't, to me, it'll lead to a bigger move back to $40, which would just be a test of the weekly 34. And if we don't hold that $40, which happens to be a nice psychological number, to me, then we definitely can start testing these lows again. And if the daily shifting, if the daily trend shifts down, it can give us momentum to shift this weekly trend, in my opinion. And breaking this $36 zone will be a massive point. Right, currently I have it at $6.15. If we start breaking that and actually breaking this wick low that was formed on the weekly on August 5th, to me, then we definitely can go down, and it probably means that this BBWP reset came down, and now it's probably expanding, which means that bulls will have more. Bears will have more control to the downside. But until then, we just can't disregard this level on the weekly. And for me, this was a big point. We haven't had lots of data for this EMA 100 because Roblox is fairly new, but for what we have had, it's been a major rejection point. And so flipping that and getting that bounce to the higher high, especially on the weeklies, is very welcoming. And so now it's just the question of how bad is this rejection going to be? Does it kind of get stopped and horny shorts get smoked and we start catching support here? Or do we start actually losing this EMA 100 on the weekly? And then it gives us more fuel actually to test this daily EMA 100 after probably that would mean we lost the EMA 34 on the daily. To me, that'll be the sign that we're breaking down. And another point to add, BBWP is expanding now while we're getting this breakdown. So to me, if we start losing this daily 34, it could be a nice, it could be a front runnable event to the weekly. And it gives me more of a probability of us testing $40, $41, $40.92, which then could just lead into the weekly, testing the 21 and the 34, which then at that point, a crucial level will be at the weekly, assuming we keep going down. BBWP could be reset. And at that point, we have to really start seeing kind of how the chart's looking, what's going on, because that starts expanding to the downside, just like it started expanding to the right here, to the upside. The moves are pretty big with Roblox. So, if we're at that crucial level and BBWP starts to turn up, and then we start actually reclaiming again, then to me, that'll be a good sign that bulls fully reset this, and it could be looked at as a bull trap, a bear trap, my apologies. But, as long as we are still holding the daily 34, to me, we're just in that bounce zone now. We really want this momentum to start expanding, and we'd want to see a reaction here. In my opinion, we wouldn't want to see the 9 get rejected on the daily. If the 9 gets rejected, this could you could view this as a bearish retest, especially if we even do get all the way back up to this meme line. And to me, then that would be that would be pretty bad news, and it'd be an easy short setup that I actually like. We deviate, we wait patiently, we can even come down to come up, retest, and then from there, that's where you actually bid. And for me, I hope we don't get that setup, but that's what I'll be looking for. The only reason why I'm more leeryous on that is just how the weekly looks with the silver cross, and the fact that we are now well above the EMA 100. To me, you know, we have to respect that, even with the little data we have. But from this point to this 100, it's still a nice 3.8% move, which is pretty nice for stocks. And to me, that's why I'm convinced that this can still go down and actually test this 5.43% number, giving bulls potentially a nice spring from there. And so, yeah, that's all I have on Roblox. It's a tricky chart because, you know, the weekly, this candle looked really bad. But, you know, when we start viewing it in different frame, it's like, okay, I understand this level here needs to hold. If it doesn't hold, then it most likely bleeds into the 34 on the daily, not holding. And so it's an interesting point. That's why, you know, on this chart, it's in my opinion, recommended to just view it more in a higher time frame, because then it kind of blocks out the noise. But yeah, I mean, that's all I really have. It's nice the monthly is well above the 9 again. But, you know, another point of confluence that I have that, you know, this either needs to bounce soon, if not then at $40, is this monthly 9. You know, it likes to hold. Usually in a very trending markets, the 9 likes to hold on the monthly, and that's kind of what we're getting now. Even getting above the 21, which was nice. Now rejecting the 34, and actually, you know, coming back down from this support line. So ideally, we keep holding the 21 on the monthly, which is closing today. You know, and then we basically see where this weekly closes in the next 4 days. You know, we keep holding this 9. Holding the 100 and consolidating, to me, this will just give bulls more momentum for another breakout, and then they'll form a higher low right here. We start losing it on the weekly. To me, that'll be a really bad sign, and then we have to kind of shift our view to the daily and then watch the reaction of this EMA 100. Because if we throw all the other EMAs off and keep the 200 SMA and the EMA 100, now we really haven't retested it since breaking above it. And so kind of like what I'm watching with Bitcoin here, even if we come down, retest this, get shorts really horny, and they're in profit, you know, to me, that could just be what we need to retest to then fully get this weekly reset on the BBWP, and then potentially makes a nice spring for this massive range breakout that we've been in for many, many, many months. And we know that, you know, at least, yeah, actually, you're right. Years from basically when we got into it in 2022. That's 100% right. So, yep. So, I mean, that would make sense to me. That's kind of what we're waiting and watching for. You know, this is a big chart in the sense that it likes to move big, and it's been in this range. It's trying to form structure now on the weekly, while the oscillators are resetting. It's just a matter of, do those massive levels hold? Does 42, 41.50 hold? If not, then $40 has to hold. If $40 doesn't hold, nice psychological number, then to me, that'll just be bad news for Roblox. But still looking good. Okay.
Yeah.
The only fuckery in the candlestick, especially in that weekly, very ugly. And I'm sure a lot of people shorted that. I'm sure they're looking at that as a deviation, watching for that bearish retest. And that's why, to me, it's just really could fuel that move on the weekly. Taps the 9, the 100, and then boom, springs us up. So that's what I'm watching.
Thank you, sir. SMR for you, which I believe is a microchip thing.
New Scale Power Corporation. So perfect.
Then probably not. Or maybe. I don't know these days anymore. I don't know. I'm too old. Okay. Estamos viendo en este momento Roblox y pueden ver que estamos rangueando literalmente en este rango de precio entre los 26 y los 43. Llevamos desde abril del 2022, más de 2 años y medio en esta zona, básicamente, entre estos altos, estos bajos, estos altos, estos bajos. Lo que podemos notar rápidamente si no ponemos nada, ¿no? Si no ponemos nuestros indicadores es que estás creando bajo, este fue un bajo más bajo que este, entonces este es un bajo, pero la primera vez que tienes un bajo más alto y bastante por mucho es este. Luego tienes este en los 35 y ahorita justamente estás aquí arriba, pero esta vela mensual que cierra literalmente en 4 horas y 3 minutos, nos podría dar un poco más de señales de vela de tope. Y también no me gusta nada que estamos cerrando estas velas fuerte aquí arriba en la mensual y estas no. Esto simplemente es el wick, así que hay que tener y poner mucha atención con esto. Vemos que estamos arriba del 9. Bien, trepamos arriba el 21. No lo hemos hecho hasta ahora, no hemos tenido más que un cierre por encima del 21, que fue acá en 45, y la vela siguiente nos rechazó y nos mandó hasta el 9. Esto podría darse una vez más por acá, donde nos rechace en la siguiente vela el precio y nos volvamos a dar una vuelta por acá. Pero si queremos poner un poco más de información enfrente de nosotros, ¿qué es lo que tenemos en estos momentos? Hablamos de estos bajos más altos, estos bajos más altos. Lo primero que queremos hacer es poder aguantar el promedio de la 100, que también coincide con este bajo. Si no rompemos esto a la baja, deberíamos de sentirnos bastante a gusto de que estamos creando un nuevo bajo más alto y nuestro siguiente objetivo de precio sería simplemente otra vez los $46. Estamos por arriba del promedio de la 100, sobre todo en la semanal. Acaba de popular, nos había rechazado y ahora estás arriba. Entonces tienes mínimo mínimo tienes esto que puede ser una retomada del mismo o una desviación. Pero como tienes el cruce de los 25, el 9 es lo que está hasta arriba de todo. El 9 acaba de cruzar el 100, que no se había dado nunca en el precio de Roblox en la semanal. Eso nos pone en un buen lugar, pero también tienes esta vela envolvente bajista que confirmaría, porque esta no es una vela de tope, esta es una vela de indecisión. Esta vela bajista tiene que ser confirmada abajo de los 43.77, que también coincide mucho con el 43.38 que estamos platicando, o el 42, ¿dónde está el punto bajo de esta vela? 42.40. No quieres perder la zona de los 42.40. Si pierdes los 42.40, quieres no llevarte estos bajos en los 35. Sería tu siguiente zona de entrada. Pero cuando lo ves en la diaria también, puedes ver acá un poco más de acción. Tienes esta vela que sí es un tope, esta vela que es una confirmación a la baja, esta es tu segunda confirmación a la baja en la diaria y acá tienes tu verde, lo que probablemente te haga pensar que el precio vaya a rebotar a los 45 y de ahí ser rechazado. Pero todavía tienes el promedio de las 9 arriba del 21, lo que sigue siendo alcista. Lo único que no quieres es romper esta zona que también coincide una vez más con el promedio de las 55 en esta temporalidad diaria en 42.24. No quieres perder estos altos, 42.34, perdón. Una vez que los pierdas, probablemente vengas a visitar un poco más para abajo y esperar a no romper estos bajos de 35.35, poder crear un nuevo bajo más alto y de ahí poder seguir a buscar un alto más alto. Es lo que tenemos nosotros por ahora. Creemos que Roblox está en una posición bastante importante, sobre todo viéndolo en la semanal. No queremos perder la 9 ni el 100 y simplemente no perder este bajo. Así que sería bueno que encontrara dónde rebotar y seguirse en su camino para arriba y no tener este cierre semanal abajo de los 43.79 también. Es importante. Y ahí lo tienes. Eso es Roblox. Farhan, do you have Tesla?
Sir.
My ninja.
Let's go to the quarterly first. Quarterly on Tesla is looking insane right now. We have a bounce off of the median, and now we're getting expansion from there, and we're strongly above the top 38.2%, which is currently at $216.59. And if we check our HPDR momentum, it is breaking up towards the bullish control zone, and volatility is flipping down. So what's very likely going to happen after this quarterly close, if we close above this 38.2%, volatility is probably going to start flipping back up, because now it's done a full reset, because it was topped out in the 90% range just around like a few quarterlies ago. April of 2024, it was in the high 80s. Now volatility is fully reset, and if we look at the jewel right now, the jewel is starting to flip back around, and it's going from this dark blue cell into this white neutral. And very likely, if we close above the 38.2%, the jewel is going to flip around into this light blue cyan buy signal. And our logical target, if we close above this 38.2%, we have to see where these ranges move to on the next quarterly open. But right now, that number is at $542.21. That would be a pretty massive move on Tesla from here, and it would be new all-time highs as well. Elon's probably going to like $400 billion in net worth at that point.
Mhm.
Bro's gonna be the world's first trillionaire.
Oh, no doubt. And he will be in 2 years, especially if Trump wins. Are you kidding me?
And then Neuralink is going to go public, and space. What is it?
Starlink.
Starlink is also going to go public.
Yeah.
So Elon's
He's set. I think he'll be fine. He'll do okay. Did the cat crap on you again?
No, I was plugging in my laptop.
That's the question everyone had.
It did. It shit on me like 4 times yesterday.
I've never seen a cat do that. My squirrel shits on me all the time.
Yeah, but the cat's shits are a little bit bigger. So.
Oh yeah, no, the squirrel's just a tiny little pebble.
On the weekly, we have a silver cross confirmed towards the upside, and we've reclaimed this 200 SMA, and we've closed above the 38.2%. Our HBR momentum is starting to flip down a little bit, but we're still within the bullish control zone, while volatility is slipping down. So that's telling us if we do get a correction from here, it's going to be it's not going to be an impulsive move. It's going to be a corrective move. And we should be, if we do get that pullback, I would be looking somewhere around this 5 EMA, which lines up with this 38.2%. Let's check the RSI. So right now, the quarterly on Tesla is about to put in a drive of hidden bullish divergence right at the neutral middle zone. So our target from there would be the bullish control zone, and that number sits right now at $451. So it's kind of close to our $500 number we were looking at before, and we probably do go a little bit past it, probably touch the moving average. And right now, that moving average is at $602, which is very, very close to that high $500 number we were looking at earlier. And we still have this fib run over here. We are about to close based off of the it's not a Fibonacci number, it's a Gann number, but the rule for that is if you close above or below the 50%, that's where you get your confirmation for a reversal. So from this move down towards the downside, we were in a downtrend, but if we close above this 50%, that would tell us that we're probably going up to test this top previous highs were here, right around $400. Let's check if there's anything on the monthly. Monthly, weekly. So the only one we really have anything on is the quarterly, and you don't really need anything more than a quarterly because it's such a high time frame that a hidden bullish divergence from the quarterly is going to give us a very, very powerful move. Last time we had a hidden bullish divergence from the quarterly was right over here, and price did, let's minimize this a little bit. $3,300% towards the upside after that in bullish divergence.
Well, let's calm down.
Tesla is like, hold my beer, Bitcoin.
He's like, and by the way, why? I mean, I don't fully understand what he's going to unveil on the 10th, obviously, but every other car company's in the shit. And by the way, Tesla did have its lows, and we did say in this fucking stupid ass channel that electric car companies are going to crash first and then the other ones. So we might be seeing the other ones now crashing and then electrics recovering. But then we're seeing Rivian also kind of like, not doing great, but the Chinese ones are doing great. Like they're on their way up. So it's interesting the spot that they're in.
Yeah, I've seen a whole bunch of those Chinese EVs here in Mexico. I haven't seen them at all because they're not in America. So this is the first time I saw them.
And by the way, that's what most people don't understand. You know how they're talking like this is politics, and they're all saying, we're going to put tariffs on Chinese cars. There's no Chinese cars up here. Why are people worrying about that? There's literally none. None. We only have the VinFast ones, VinFast, and that's because they're Vietnamese. They're not Chinese.
Can't have any Chinese cars.
Yeah, no
But on
China cars.
On the quarterly right now, momentum is down as long as we're below $279.16. But this number is likely to move down after the next quarterly open, and we have to see if price is above it at that point. The hidden bullish divergence is also going to confirm, and then we should get our move towards back towards the bullish control zone. Let's check the monthly. Monthly is solidly up, and the momentum pivot is $172.11. So we are currently like $90 above that. And not only that, but we are also rejecting the bearish control zone as well, and we're getting back out of the bearish control zone. And we are moving towards the, right now we're just about at the neutral zone. So after this monthly close, we should be going towards the bullish control zone. Let's check the weekly. And the weekly is also solidly up as long as price is above $223.89. And then there's also that fresh silver cross on the weekly as well. So we're rejecting this mean line. So as long as we keep projecting that mean line, the 9 is going to move up as well. It's probably going to be somewhere around this previous wick high. So we should be looking for a retest of the 9, and then basing off the 9, so we can move towards this top mean line at $313. But right now, it's looking very good. It's looking quarterly. It's looking very strong, and we're going to confirm almost. It's basically just formality right now that hidden bullish divergence on the quarterly is very likely going to confirm.
Very, very nice. You did a beautiful job. He did a beautiful job, didn't he? Just a beautiful job. Thank you, Farhan. After this, I got Pfizer. Sorry, someone's asking me for Pfizer. Bad news.
Hope it's looking bad.
Bad news. I hope it's looking terrible. But hey, they'll continue and they'll be around forever. Ok, tenemos Tesla. Antes de hablar de Tesla, quiero hablar con ustedes rápido de un problema grande que se está dando en este lugar. Y eso es herpes genital. No, no es cierto. No vamos a hablar de herpes genitales. Perdón. Quiero hablar de coches con ustedes rápidamente. Uno, todas las empresas de coches en este momento, volteen a ver a Volkswagen, volteen a ver a BMW, volteen a ver a Aston Martin, están en caída libre, Stellantis también en caída libre, todas. Sí, habíamos platicado en este canal que probablemente los eléctricos vayan a ver el primer piso y después vayan a ser los primeros en recuperarse porque tienen un modelo directo a consumidor. Eso es muy importante de tener en mente. ¿Por qué estoy diciéndoles esto? Porque vamos a ver Tesla. Tesla tiene un gráfico muy alcista, bastante alcista en este momento y sobre todo en temporalidades grandes, ¿ok? Pero la razón por la que se me hace interesante es porque el 10 de este mes, literalmente en 10 días, en octubre, estamos en septiembre, 30 de septiembre, el 10 de octubre, Tesla va a presentar su concepto del robotaxi y algo más. Algo que está haciendo que el precio de esto esté explotando a la alza comparado con todos los demás que no están. También podría ser el mercado chino, tengamos eso en mente. En China se están vendiendo más coches, las marcas de coches chinas están subiendo, etcétera. Tesla tiene una presencia grande en China, por ejemplo, Rivian no, lo que nos daría esa diferencia entre los precios de ello. Pero quiero decirlo simplemente para que lo tengan en mente, porque ahora que les enseño el gráfico, discúlpenme, es que me comí un burrito ayer con salsa, qué gran error, no lo vuelvo a hacer, dieta carnívora al 100. Sí, simplemente ahorita que les enseño el gráfico, que lo vean tan alcista, etcétera, quiero que tengan todo eso en mente. No sé si les sirva o no, pero lo quiero decir porque es un momento diferente. Vale, aquí está. Aquí tienen la tabla de Tesla y esta es la trimestral. Esta vela va a cerrar en 3 horas 48 minutos y justamente está en contra de nuestra resistencia que está en los 260.98. Tesla está por encima cotizando en 261. Estamos por encima del promedio de los 21, que está en 192, el 9 está en 225, donde el 9 es el que nos da la primera zona importante de retroceso para poder comprar en el siguiente movimiento. Porque de acuerdo a todos los indicadores de Farhan de momento y de volatilidad, lo que vamos a tener probablemente en un movimiento a la baja es un movimiento correctivo. Y eso no sería un movimiento fijo. Eso quiere decir que el primer movimiento correctivo va antes del movimiento duro de a dónde va el precio. Y eso básicamente nos va a llevar después de una corrección a la alza. En la mensual pueden ver exactamente un poco de lo mismo, altos más bajos, bajos más altos, bajos más altos, y ahora nuestro siguiente objetivo a romper van a ser estos $300. Por ahora, en este momento estamos por encima del 9, del 21, y vamos a hacer que crucen el 9 y el 21, están literalmente uno encima del otro, lo que nos va a devolver la fuerza con este movimiento, y es lo que nos enseña la tabla. Pero también están en esta zona de por ahí de los 2.18, 2.20, y acuérdense que esta tabla mensual va a cerrar también en 3 horas 47 minutos. Nos vamos a acercar un poco más y ver la semanal. La semanal podemos ver cómo retomamos el promedio de las 200, cómo tuvimos un cruce plateado a la alza, además de que habías tenido esta vela de tope que fue cancelada con esta, también con esta, y ahora estamos por acá. ¿Qué es lo que estamos buscando? Probablemente una oportunidad a esta zona en los 235, entre los 220 y 235 para poder entrar, porque esto es lo que esperamos del movimiento, básicamente viendo todos los indicadores de Farhan, es algo así y así. Y de ahí tus siguientes objetivos serían los 300. Una vez que rompas los 300 y de acuerdo a indicadores de momentum y volatilidad en una tabla de 3 meses, deberíamos de venir a romper este máximo, y estamos hablando de números por ahí de los $400, $500 en esta acción. Así que vamos a ver qué nos presenta Tesla. Vamos a ver si de verdad puede aguantar todo esto, este gran hype, y también entender que estamos rompiendo esta tendencia bajista con fuerza. Y eso es una muy, muy, muy buena señal alcista para el precio de Tesla. Ahí lo tienen, damas y caballeros. SMR. You're muted, sir.
ASMR, nice. All right.
Hey, you wish.
Yeah. People eating. So, I mean, for today, we have a monthly closure. This is a pretty strong monthly closure. Held the 9. Now it's grinding up again above the 34, which is welcome to see. So now we have the fast moving average is now supporting price. The monthly kind of ties in what I'm going to say overall. And I think that once this closes, we should all just be on the back test view, in my opinion. This $10 region is pretty important for SMR and overall. And that's kind of what we should be looking for. I think when we start going down the time frames, especially like a weekly, it becomes more evident of that, right? So healthy, strong weekly closure, to me, it makes sense to possibly come down and test this $10.20, maybe even comes down to like $10 flat. For me, this would then be a back test of the weekly EMA 9, potentially while also resetting BBWP, which, would be welcomed here, and resetting that while also holding, what was resistance, now support, could give bulls the momentum to actually base here and then break out again. I think that overall, we shouldn't get too bearish on this chart, even on a daily rejection here, because, the 9 is still holding on the daily. If it doesn't, the next spot is this 34 and 21. Again, lining up with this $10.15 to $10 range. And to me, I think that that's going to be a massive test and a massive spot. And that's kind of where what we'd expect bulls to start bidding is that $10 range. I think now right here, you can long it based on this 9, but I think that would be quite aggressive. Though the wiser trade, in my opinion, would be look for a long opportunity in this zone, excuse me, and then have your stop here. To me, that gives you a well-balanced risk to reward. That would then be very logical, because what you're doing then is patiently waiting. You're kind of letting price prove to you that this is now support, taking a nice extremity trade, especially based, especially with what we're seeing on the monthly here. The monthly closes, opens maybe red, comes down and back tests this, giving us a nice spring up. When I'm doing the 2-week, ideally we wouldn't want this to fully turn on closure. I guess ideally we wouldn't want this to turn red. If it does, it could mean that we're going to have a bigger pullback, because this turning red would basically mean it would, we'd have to question that candle as if that's a reversal candle potentially. But until that happens, to me, I'm looking at this $9, $9.99 to $10.15 range. Ideally does that, and we get a reaction from it once this monthly closes like this. And for me, that it just makes sense, especially like on a daily here as well. The 9 has been well respected, but if we lose that, oftentimes we get a lot of short stacking in here, only for us to actually bounce off the 21. And luckily for us, this is perfectly lining up here with a massive resistance line that we've had, where we get big rejections from this point. Breakdowns, rejections, another rejection. And so getting back above is welcomed. Let's just have price actually prove to us that it's going to, be support and base for maybe a spring up. To me, that would be good. And we know that this thesis is breaking out once we actually break this high. This September 27th high, right around, let's see, $13.10. To me, breaking even a wick above there will confirm the breakout, that this is just another higher low. And the trend will keep resuming. And we've just basically back tested the massive support level on the monthly, retested the weekly EMA 9, hit the daily 21, maybe wick to the 34. But for me, we can't get overtly bearish on this, especially when the daily trend is in an uptrend now. So that's kind of what I'm looking for with SMR. I think, I think that if we do start losing this $10 zone, then yeah, we have to look for lower, and lower comes to me right around this $9 zone. This will be the last stand, in my opinion. If we start losing this EMA 100 on the daily, then I think it's deserving to start looking for shorts again. We know SMR here, once it lost this daily EMA 100, it basically kept rejecting from it the entire time. Any rallies to it got front ran and sold off. And then actually almost hitting it led to a massive rejection. So, reclaiming it's welcomed. We'd expect this to hold, in like a worst case scenario dump if it does test all the way down to $9. And then if we don't, hold it, then we have to look for this being just a massive deviation of it, breakdown, and we have to look for a lot lower, which will come right around $6.77 for me. But until then, I'm looking at $10.15, $10 flat to be the next opportunity and potentially higher low spot. And that gives us an easy trade, logical stop loss at this low, as I mentioned. And we actually can retest the monthly open, assuming it actually does open red, which then ties into this weekly 9 tab. So bullish, we just want the SR flip in real time. And hopefully we get that once we get this monthly closure. Strong monthly closure though, nothing crazy to see. It's welcoming that we're above the 9 now. We can see that just like the weekly and the daily, the monthly 9 heavily gets rejected here. The fact that we flipped it now is really welcoming. I'm actually curious to see where this 9 goes to. And that could play in possibly for adding more confluence to support, assuming this $10 support range doesn't hold. Then maybe us looking at that daily EMA 100 actually lines up with that monthly EMA 9. So for now though, I'm watching and waiting. This zone massive, and this will be a very important telling zone to the chart. If we come down and actually lose it, great. Now we have to look at it as resistance again. If we hold it though, then to me, I'm looking at this as a very healthy reset, very clean retest, and a potential higher low spot that could be an opportunity for the higher high. We'll know that's confirmed once we break this high here. So yeah, waiting and watching and not getting surprised if the monthly opens on a pullback. To me, that's an opportunity. Trap shorts. We retest some levels, back test, SR flip that resistance and support, and then spring load off after resetting the oscillators. Very straightforward.
Thank you, sir. And you just did this. Rivian.
Oh, cool. I'm interested to see where that is now.
That's why, yeah. Ok. Tenemos SMR. Podemos ver también que esta vela es bastante buena porque rompiste este alto de acá. Estamos en ella, pero hay muy pocos datos porque no lleva tanto tiempo. Estás bastante por encima de la 9. Esta fue la primera vez que te trepaste en la 9 desde que empezó a popular esto. Pero el secreto de todo esto, honestamente, está en la diaria. En la diaria estamos buscando poder romper esta zona de los 16.96. Ahorita puedes ver cómo abrió y estás cayendo bajo el promedio de las 9. Es algo esperado. Estamos buscando un rebote justamente en esta zona de los 9.99. ¿Por qué? Tienes un cruce plateado, estás el 9 por encima del 21, obviamente el 21 por encima del 55, promedio de las 200 está aquí abajo, que también coincide con los mínimos, pero estás creando altos más altos, mínimos bajos más altos también. Lo que quieres acá es simplemente una creación de otro mínimo más alto y poder continuar esta trayectoria de precio hacia acá y poder encontrarte con un nuevo máximo histórico. Bastante confluencia en todos lados en esta zona, en la zona de los 10-19. Es lo que me hace pensar a mí, también a Alex, que probablemente el precio venga a darse una vuelta por acá antes de continuar. Pero lo que no quieres es romper estos bajos. Una vez que rompas los bajos de los 7 y también pierdas estos promedios, porque yo creo que puedes primero antes perder los promedios y entender que vas a perder este bajo, es simplemente estar pendiente a que no lo haga. En todas las temporalidades que lo pongas, se ve bastante bien, honestamente. Sobre todo puedes ver en la de 2 días como el 9 está trepando sobre el 21, además del 55, abajo el 100, el 200, como debe de ser, y esto nos da una idea de que esto tiene fuerza para empujar y seguir empujando. Lo que sí es, ¿qué era? ¿La mensual? No, la mensual sí. En la mensual, simplemente no quieres que esta vela sea tu vela de tope. De verdad quieres poder hacer que este mínimo sea el alto más bajo, el bajo más alto y ahora formar un bajo más alto acá y poder tener continuación y romper este 16.96 que ves por ahí. Bastante sencillo, honestamente. Es literalmente todo y pues sí, pasa en una tendencia alcista fuerte con esta cosa. Aunque interesante, buena pérdida el día de hoy está en la diaria, pero nada de qué preocupar si es que puede tolerar por aquí la zona de los 10.19, 9.99 y poder continuar su trayectoria a la alza. All righty, sir. Sir Farhan, what do you got? You got Pfizer?
I'm very glad to see that it's not looking good at all.
Good.
So we ended up topping out right around October of 2021, and from there we went down, literally just down only. We broke back into the 38.2% zone, and then we got a close below it. We retested it and got a rejection, and from there we just been going how long low since after we closed below the 38.2. Let's see. We dropped another 31% after losing the 38.2. So as long as we're below this 55 EMA within the next 1 or 2 candle opens, this 21 is going to cross below the 55, and we're going to have a silver cross to the downside. I don't believe we've had the last time we had a silver cross was a downside on the quarterly was in October of 2008, and the price went down after confirmation 40%. So if we were to get a close below this 55 EMA on the next 2 candles, that silver cross is going to confirm. And if we take let's be generous and take it from up here and do 40% down from here, that brings us down to just below $20. And this 200 SMA is very likely going to move up on the next quarterly open, and it's going to be right around that 40%, or right down to this 200 SMA. So it makes a lot of sense that because we were rejecting we closed below the 100 and now we're rejecting it again every single time we've tapped it after losing it. So our next logical target will be the 200 after losing the 100. Let's check the HPDR momentum. Right now, momentum is in strongly towards the bearish control zone, and it's flipping back around, It tried to flip up when we retested this 100, but it failed and it turned back around. And volatility is still pointing very strongly towards the upside as well. So volatility is supporting the move towards the downside, and the jewel is breaking into the bearish control zone here. You check the monthly momentum is pointed up right now, while volatility is trying to point up as well. And we're getting this green God mode background for the jewel bicycle. And we're this light blue cyan. And we're above the pink, and we're about to cross above the yellow. So that's telling you that on the monthly, we should be looking for a mean reversion bounce, and right around somewhere, and we're above the median as well. So we're looking somewhere back on to retest this 200 SMA, probably somewhere around this top 38.2%. And then from there, the quarterly would take back over, and we would continue the trend towards the downside. We'll check the weekly. Weekly right now is getting a rejection of the top 38.2% and the median from here. Right now, we're above the median, and we're above the 21. The momentum is pointed up right here on the weekly, and volatility is a little bit flat. So that's not the strongest signal. We should be looking on this next weekly open to see if volatility starts ticking up. Then we can expect to get that mean reversion bounce before the quarterly trend versus back towards the downside. Let's check the other side. So right here on the 5-day, we have a possible drive of bearish divergence, which is going to confirm. And we're rejecting the bullish control zone, and we're getting this little bit of a cock and balls pattern, herp and derp. There's a shoulder right here. There's the head. There's the next shoulder. And we can get a little bit of a measured move from there to see where that would take us on the other side. It's right down into the bearish control zone. We're getting very, very close to the bearish critical zone. Right now, the bearish control zone sits at $25.15, and the bearish critical zone is at $13.12. So very likely, once we break into this bearish control zone based off this measured move from the head and shoulders, we're probably going to tap the bearish critical zone, and that is that $13 number. Let's check our momentum chart. Our momentum on the quarterly, stochastic momentum is going to be down as long as price is below $37.23, and we're breaking within the bearish critical zone as well. And on the monthly, momentum is going to be up while price is above $25.82. So while volatility is dropping, so that supports the idea of the mean reversion bounce while volatility resets, and then the previous trend will continue back towards the downside.
Sorry, I'm just fucking staring at the chart right now. Fucking A, dude. It kind of like faked us out into making us believe that he was going to go up, but there's also a tremendous head and shoulders on the daily towards the downside. Have you fucked with, like, well, I know you don't really trade like that, but I'll put it right here for everyone to enjoy, hopefully, the demise of Pfizer.
The government will release another pandemic to save them.
They will. Absolutely will. Look at this bad boy. And in reality, this is how I would connect it, to be honest with you. This would be my shoulder, and this right here. There you go. And let's measure.
I saw this one AI video of Biden in the White House where he's just showing around the area near the Oval Office. He's like, Fauci came up with COVID right here.
No way. No way. Shut the fuck up.
AI is fucking awesome.
By the way, look at that. It coincides with this green area, which was touched in 2008. The target for the head and shoulders. Interesting. Interesting. Thank you, sir. Ok, estamos viendo en este momento Pfizer. Pueden ver y vamos a empezar con temporalidades altas. No importa dónde lo veas, todo esto se ve bastante bajista. Simplemente empezando por tradicional. Tienes este tope, y luego esta gran caída y luego consolidación. Esto se llama una bandera bajista. Eso es lo primero. Entonces, en temporalidad de 3 meses no se ve nada bien que eso sea el caso. Esto empieza a darse, y por cierto, esta vela va a cerrar en 3 horas 27 minutos. Esto, con que baje tantito más, básicamente algo por acá, por ahí de los $28, esta es una vela de tope y esto te diría que este fue el tope que pudo lograr acá y va a continuar su movimiento a la baja. Voy a poner mis indicadores. Podemos ver que el 21 fue penetrado por el 9 a la baja. Estamos a punto de destruir el 55 y en este momento nos está rechazando el 100. Estamos por debajo del 100 en la trimestral. Eso es bastante negativo para el precio de Pfizer. Luego volteamos a ver en la mensual y nos cuenta un poco de la misma historia y en la mensual pueden verlo aún mejor. Tienes este cruce plateado a la baja que ocurrió acá. Eso quiere decir que cualquier oportunidad en la 9 es buena para hacerle un corto y pueden ver que ha funcionado una, en esta no, 2, 3 veces. Y vamos a ver cómo se da. Esta ya en esta temporalidad sí es una vela de tope por acá. Esto es la mensual. En la semanal, temporalidades más cortas, podemos ver que el 9 está por encima del 21, lo que nos indica fuerza, pero perdimos el 9 y ahora vamos a ir a buscar retestear el 21 que está en los $28.83. Pfizer está cotizando en $29 en este momento. Muy probablemente, si encontramos un rebote, porque en la tabla de Farhan encontramos un mean reversion bounce, ¿no? Una reversión en el precio, vayamos a buscar esta zona de los 30.27. Que es donde está el promedio de las 55 y pueden ver que limpiamente nos ha rechazado todo este tiempo. Cada que vas a buscarle en realidad no hay más, o sea, literalmente una vez que tuviste este cruce plateado, tuviste esta buscada y luego esta otra, creando un alto más bajo. No tienes este alto, un alto más alto y tienes un alto más bajo. Ahora lo que tienes que empezar a buscar son bajos más bajos, que es lo que probablemente nos va a dar Pfizer. A mí se me hace que esta línea, por más que a la gente no le guste usar tanto las líneas de tendencia, a mí sí personalmente me gusta. Yo creo que una ruptura de esta línea es lo que te va a decir que vas a buscar el siguiente punto del precio. El siguiente punto en el precio es por ahí de los $25 en Pfizer. Se mueve muy poco esta acción, es honestamente algo de hueva, pero es lo que estamos viendo en todas las temporalidades. Tiene cara de que, pues vean, el 9 se bajó sobre el 21, tienes ese rechazote, te rechazó el 55 y ahorita está rebotando en el 100. Si pierdes el 100 que está justamente en los 28.87 y justamente dio otro bajón, vas a ir a visitar esta zona de acá y eso rompería esto, activaría el hombro, cabeza, hombro que estamos viendo en la tabla y ese movimiento te daría un objetivo por ahí de los $24.61. Así que Pfizer no se ve nada bien, primos, nada bien. Alrighty. Which platform do we use to trade Bitcoin? Hang on a second. Let me just do a shameless plug then so that people know what exactly we're doing. What do you think?
Perfect timing for the question.
Excellent, sir. Excellent. 1 second. Let me just expand a little bit on this so people can see my disgusting Discord. There you go. Ahí les va. Este es el Discord de Elite Trading Academy, damas y caballeros. Lo tenemos por acá para todos ustedes, para que vengan y nos acompañen. Pueden unirse al Discord de una vez. Y para los que preguntan, ¿dónde tradeamos? ¿Cómo le hacemos para tradear Bitcoin, Solana o cualquier altcoin? Métanse acá dentro del Discord. Pueden ver que acá tenemos reglas, moderadores, análisis de Alex, análisis de Farhan en general, etcétera. Se meten en Partners, en la cosa que tiene la cadenita que es enlaces. Y acá puedes ver, tenemos BitGet y también tenemos Bluffing. Son súper fáciles de usar. Estos exchanges, honestamente, hemos hecho, ¿cómo se dice? Hemos hecho varias Bueno, no, es que todavía ustedes no lo ven. Da igual, entonces se los voy a enseñar rápido. Este es bluffing. Bluffing puedes usarlo en Estados Unidos, en México, en todo el mundo. No requiere KYC, eso quiere decir que no requiere identificación. Puedes abrir cuantas cuentas quieras, etcétera. Cuando entras acá, mucha gente no sabe qué hacer. Lo que tienes que hacer es meterte a futuros, futures, y en futuros le picas acá. Una vez que le picas a futuros, te va a llevar exactamente acá. Y si quieres cambiar cuál usar, quieres ver Ethereum, Solana, lo que sea, simplemente le picas acá y te va a llevar exactamente a lo que busques. Pero Bitcoin está acá. Y acá de este lado tienes cómo crear tu posición cruzado o con apalancamiento isolated, que normalmente les recomiendo a todo el mundo que está empezando y a todo el mundo en general usar isolated para que no se coma toda tu cuenta. Le vas a picar confirmar, no lo voy a hacer acá porque estamos moviendo cosas. Acá pones, lo puedes hacer market, eso quiere decir que va a comprar al precio tal cual donde está hoy, lo puedes hacer en limit, tú poner el precio donde quieres comprar o crear también tus triggers, ¿no? Para tus stop loss y esto. Vamos a decir que vamos a comprar market. Quiero crear un take profit. Take profit es llevarte tus ganancias y veo que ahorita está en $63,000. Voy a decir que va a bajar a 61,000. Entonces voy a llevarme mis ganancias en 61,000 y mi stop loss lo voy a poner simplemente, digamos, acá en, no sé, en 60 y en qué estamos, en 64,000. Nada más simplemente haces eso y pones vender corto. Aunque del otro lado también puedes hacer un long. Es súper fácil de usar esto, no hay pierde. Pero de nuevo, acá tienen, ese es bluffing. Acá también tienen el enlace de BitGet. BitGet funciona en todo el mundo, menos Estados Unidos. También requiere, este sí requiere que pongas tu identificación, pero tiene mejores fees. Es lo que gusten de cada uno. Y si usan nuestro enlace, les van a dar bonos y diferentes cosas en lo que crean su cuenta y también dentro del tiempo a ciertos miembros de Elite Trading Academy sí les tocó que cuando Bluffing hizo los depósitos en las cuentas, les tocó sus depósitos. Esténlo checando. Lo que recomiendo para todos ustedes es simplemente meterse acá, usar estos enlaces y también, ¿por qué? Porque vamos a organizar también torneos y cosas diferentes, donde si no tienes estos enlaces también no podemos contar lo que estés haciendo. Y esto es tu TradingView, que es el programa que usamos para ver todos los precios de todo. Si quieres $15 de algún paquete pagado, aunque me parece que hay bastantes cosas que puedes hacer gratis, aquí lo tienes. También acá tenemos nuestro chat general con todo el mundo. Tenemos por acá nuestras tarjetas de P&L con toda la comunidad para ver cómo van todos, aunque ahorita ninguno está populando por 220%. ¿Dónde está el tío que se llevó como 3,000%? Artus, voy a ver si lo encuentro. No mames. Tío Salo, algo raro pasó en este trade de bluffing. Mi TP era esto, pero se lo erraron primera vez, bla, bla, bla. Suena que te fue bastante bien, pero ahorita lo voy a ver. Interesante. Tenemos eso, tenemos noticias, tenemos preguntas, tenemos lo de los streams, vengan a preguntarnos de tablas, todo está aquí, la comunidad es a toda madre, hablan español, inglés, lo que ustedes gusten y todo el mundo es bienvenido, así que ahí lo tienen, damas y caballeros. All righty, let's go into, what do you got, Alex, for us? I
Nice.
forgot.
Rivian.
Rivian, let's go.
Nice. So right now, currently, I mean, we talked about this scenario playing out right before I did, essentially. And what we have now is we're just in no man's land in the chart. To me, we had this nice rally up, daily 9 rejected again, which is what we'd expect, especially if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the fresh silver cross to the downside. That is the first rejection point. That is where we'd expect the rally to kind of stop. And so now what we see here is, we're kind of just, slowly going down again. I still think that $10 could be a nice opportunity and kind of the last stand for bulls. If we don't hold this $10, in my opinion, we have to start looking for a lot lower, which the first spot to me will be right in that $8 range. And, for me too, I think, so I'm watching the daily, and right now the daily on BBWP is starting to curve and reset after it just hit extremes. And so, for me, extremes on the low. And so we got the expansion, we talked about that. And now it's slowly starting to curve. So, consolidation, we'd expect that. But also when I start going and looking at like the 3-day, the 3-day still looks quite healthy and strong. And from the lows of 9%, we're now getting that volatility. We're getting the expansion, and it's above 15%, telling us that this move still has a ways to go. And so when I start looking at it on a 3-day chart, it becomes more evident that, yes, this $12.30 is most likely going to be major resistance supported by this 3-day 9. So any rallies into that zone, again, we just have to respect. And we actually haven't tested it yet into resistance. We've kind of front ran it. So I'm still being mindful of that. But then also, the way BBWP looks and the way this breakdown is happening, to me, with this wick here, this wick body and this body forming, we definitely can we can come down more. This basically move down, in my opinion, hasn't finished yet. And when I start looking at the 3-day, it still tells me that, it still heavily can come down. And so that kind of ties into just what I've been saying. If you didn't short the breakdown here, or even the rally to the, daily EMA 100 here, and got short there. Now, aggressive shorts at the daily 9, they're again aggressive, and it's harder to have a stop. For me, the better trade is either to wait for the 3-day to actually, not the 3-day, but any time frame to actually test this $12.30, since we technically haven't tested it. Assuming we don't, we just keep breaking down this downtrend structure. Watch this $10 zone. We should at least get some reaction there. It's gonna be a very massive spot for the chart overall. If we go to a weekly here, we can see here that the weekly again is just slowly coming down. There's really not much when we're in the gray zone of the chart. There's really not much to talk about. We do have a monthly closing, and the monthly kind of ties everything into what I'm saying. We're now losing. We're going to close this probably around here, definitely probably under $12.30. Losing that and closing under there will move this 9. I'll be watching closely where this 9 actually moves to on this closure. Does it actually press down to this $12 range? If it does, it just again solidifies more confluence that this zone here is a big zone of resistance, and that's kind of what we were talking about. Bulls are going to be looking for essentially some kind of bounce in this zone. That way they can try to make the argument that, okay, there's some bullish structure with potentially a higher low. Unconfirmed though, as long as we don't, break $18.98 on a monthly, even wicking above there would, for me, break it. But, until then, the trend is still down, and it's kind of, these higher lows that bulls keep clinging on to, like they probably said it here, we get reactions, but they just lead to lower highs that then lead to bigger dumps because of all the trap longs. So it's just something to be very mindful of, especially with how everything else is looking. And especially with, the silver cross that we talked about on the daily, the fact that now the 9 is flipped under the 21 on the weekly, and on top of it, this will keep moving down, supporting this $12.30 resistance. It's still like, yes, the Friday's bounce was nice, but as long as we're under the daily 9, even, it doesn't really change much. And longing here seems very aggressive and more like gambling. It's way better to just wait for that extremity. And that, in my opinion, comes right in this zone, this $10 zone. I have literal support at $10.08, but we'll call it a range. It's kind of what I'm viewing, maybe at $10.30 all the way down to the psychological number at $10. But yeah, that's kind of all I have on this. Not a good monthly though. I will say that it's not a good monthly because it's never good when we reclaim a monthly 9 and then lose it. It's literally just doing the playbook it's done every single time. Rallies up, squeezes hard, loses the 9, comes down, and then full on rejects. Rallies up, reclaims the 9, comes all the way down, loses it, and then rejects hard. Are we rallying up? Is it losing the 9? Are we going to get some kind of bounce here and then we reject hard? As history has shown, that's kind of the trend, at least for Rivian. And then this quarterly is just looking terrible. Just disgusting shooting star on the quarterly, which is interesting to see, especially since we're already so low already. It just ties into this probably can go a lot lower. especially if we start losing this $8 low that we formed. To me, then that just exasperates the downtrend that we see on the monthly. And it becomes very evident when we start viewing this. We have consistent lower highs with lower lows. Was this the next lower high? Will this be a lower low? I am unsure, but as it stands, it's definitely looking like that. And the 3 week, what was it? The 3 day day chart is still telling me that, we definitely can still come down a lot more. Bears are front running this $12.30 zone. Any rallies to that still doesn't change for me. That we have to respect it as resistance. Maybe does something like that and then comes down. Or it's fucked and this gets front run and we just break down here. A little less unlikely though, but especially with the way the daily is looking. But consolidation even under the 9 isn't bullish, and it just basically gives bears momentum to come down more and break down more. So you really, if you're bullish on this, you really want this $12.30 to actually get back and reclaimed and have a daily closure above. If we start reclaiming that, then okay, we can start arguing that we'll have an opportunity to test this SMA 200 right around that EMA 100, currently right around $13.60, $13.75. Until then, I'm looking at this $12.30, and even right here, this $11.82 is massive resistance until proven otherwise. And we just have to be patient, and we just are going to wait for this $10 zone. Something we've been talking about now for a few streams, which still would be a 10% dump. When I was talking about this from this zone, I mentioned the short and the easy trade that you could do here. And having a trade that can give 25% is pretty impressive, especially with stocks. To me, this was a very easy short, especially after this deviation here of the daily EMA 100. We mentioned this directly on stream of probably a bounce here. And then, since we're getting towards the end of this channel, we were expecting some volatility, and that's kind of what we were gauging with BBWP. And that's kind of in real time. It's a good example on how I use BBWP with the meme lines, with the moving averages, with a meme channel. When you have all that confluence, it made the short easy because I know exactly where I'm wrong. Had I taken this short right here at this rejection, easy stop loss here, target $10. That gives you an insane risk to reward here. Risking at this point on this rejection, assuming you catch the trade, 3% to gain 25% is insane. That's kind of nice that we did that on stream, and we kind of see the follow through of the trade. Now we're at that point where, okay, we're getting the breakdown. We're in the middle of it. There's no point to do business here. And most go wrong because they then start looking at like an hourly, and they are focused on moving averages.
It's still down.
And good point. Even on the hourly, though, we're still under the 9. The 9's now flipped under the 21 again. And any rallies to this point, I'm looking, this could easily get rejected again at $11.30. Even if we get a massive squeeze up, what do we have here? This hourly EMA 100, which is a massive spot. And we also know since it's lost it here on the hourly, we actually haven't tested it. So, again, just more confluence of this $12.30 being a massive resistant point. But yeah, overall, we're just in the middle. No point to do business in the middle. It's a lot easier to play, this extremity or this one. And currently, if we missed this whole trade setup that we had, and even shorting this retest here would have been the second trade. A little aggressive, but it worked even there. From here, I mean, at this point, you still would have caught a good sized move. People who basically shorted up here, though, are just in massive profit. So overall, yeah, it's just better to be patient. I know we talked about this move. I know it's happening. People get FOMO. They get excited. That's where you get fucked. And it's just better to be patient, sit on your hands, understand that there's always another trade. And at this point in time, Rivian is just in the gray zone of a chart, and I'm waiting patiently for either $12.30 again to actually get tested. Sometimes you'll see like traps in charts where we'll almost test the level, and it keeps rejecting, and all that does is start fueling. Basically, shorts start stacking in, and it can act like a trap, like a bear trap. So then we get these springs. We actually do test at $12.30. people start forgetting about the levels that we keep talking about. Oh, well, it's up, 10% now on the day. Me, I'm just like, okay, cool, but did we reclaim that level? I'm always just on the levels, and it didn't. Well, then I have to ask myself, why did we rally all the way up to that point and not reclaim the level? It's kind of suspicious. It's just weird. So if we do get rallies into there, I'm going to be watching that $12.30. But until then, we have to just look for that $10 zone to still be hit, and we're just waiting for that. And the daily could reset BBWP, while the 3 days still expanding. It's not looking good for bulls, especially on that quarterly. Disgusting quarterly candle.
I think a lot of us are waiting to see if we're going to make a new low, a lower low, or if this is going to be the lower high that
Right.
the higher low that takes us into like a proper structure and actually breaks this fucking downtrend that has been since it started. So
yeah, and that's what we see on the monthly, and like there's more though. In my opinion, there's more of a probability of us breaking that low. Especially with BBWP at 50%, slightly
as of right now,
as of right now, I think it's more probable of us keeping the trend and breaking that $8 low. But that is the bullhopium, is you'd want a higher low, and you wouldn't want it to break that $8 low. If it does, big yikes.
Well, I don't have any. I do actually have Rivian on my 401k, basically. So I don't give a fuck about short-term price action, but I do want it to go lower because I have a lot of cash right now, and I am ready. I am ready. Okay, so for you after Cressy, I don't know what that is, but
Cressy,
sounds
what's
dirty.
Cressy? Okay, let's see. Okay, weird. There is a chart for it, so I'll get it ready.
Thank you, sir. Rivian, damas y caballeros. Hemos estado platicando de Rivian, estamos viendo la gráfica mensual, pero no sé si ponerles la trimestral. Déjenme elimino estos puntos. Ya habíamos platicado de ellos antes, no creo que sean necesarios más en estos streams. Vale, acá tienes Rivian en la mensual. Déjame ver cómo se ve la trimestral. Pero básicamente, rápido, para que todo el mundo sepa, Rivian está en zona de nadie en este momento. Y sobre todo cuando ves la trimestral, esta es una vela de tope. Cierra, the 3-month one, dude, this candle closes in 3 hours. That's a topping candle. This is terrible. Yeah.
It looks bad getting that quarterly candle when we're already so low like that. It's just bad. Yeah, that's why there's more of a chance we're going to break the lows at $8, especially with
no doubt. Holy fuck. Ok, vean, esta vela trimestral es una vela de tope. Tal cual. Y pueden ver que hemos estado en esta bajada desde el julio del 2023, pero eso es porque me fui bastante buen pedo y la podemos haber puesto desde acá. O sea, puedes literalmente usar esta línea. No me va a dejar ahí porque tengo la roja. Puedes hacer esta línea acá en la trimestral, poner esta acá y aún así te está rechazando, tal cual. Entonces puedes ver una vez más, una vela de tope en la trimestral, que eso quiere decir que el próximo año no se ve nada bien para Rivian. Mínimo por ahora, si es que no podemos cancelar esto, esta vela cierra en 3 horas y 5 minutos. El promedio de la 9 está aquí arriba, hasta los 23.48, y le hemos ido, no, apenas empezó a popular. Nunca hemos retestado el promedio de la 9 en la trimestral. Vamos rápidamente a la mensual para que la podamos ver de cerca. Y en la mensual podemos ver un poco de lo mismo. ¿Vieron cómo tuvimos este rechazo de la línea bajista, ¿no? De la línea de tendencia bajista. Y acá también el promedio de las 9 que está en 13.89, rechazando fuerte y yendo a la baja. Ahora lo importante va a ser poder mantener estos bajos. Si no podemos mantener estos bajos en 8.28, vamos a ver bajos más bajos. Y eso muy probablemente nos lleve a la zona de los $5 o $6 en las acciones, en la acción de Rivian, que es donde parece llevarnos absolutamente todo. Tienes esta formación. Para todos los que somos alcistas, o bueno, que queremos ser alcistas, no me importa en este momento, por más que lo tenga en mi portafolio de retiro, ¿no? Porque me da igual precio a corto plazo. En $10, sería tal vez la oportunidad y tal vez, estoy hablando de muy tal vez, de empezar a ponerte de, ok, vamos a ver si podemos hacer un nuevo mínimo más alto que este, porque si ese es el caso y empieza a formar estructura y tienes la ruptura de esta tendencia bajista, bien, se empieza a ver bien la cosa, pero por ahora no hay nada que te estoy diciendo que ese sea el caso. Tienes este tope, tienes el follow through, tienes la segunda y esta vela mensual que también va a cerrar en 3 horas y 3 días. Ahora vamos a la semanal. ¿Saben qué? Me gusta la de 2 semanas en Rivian. A veces te cuenta una buena historia. Vamos a verla rápidamente. Yo creo que sí, lo simplifica bastante la de 2 semanas en Rivian, porque pueden ver cómo vamos e intentamos romper el 9, nos agarramos del 21, pero hasta ahí nos deja y siempre nos tira. Y una vez más pasó, 1, 2, 3, 4 veces que ha pasado. Aquí pasó otra vez. Tenemos el promedio del 9 en el 12.91 y el del 21 en 14.03, bastante arriba de donde está el precio. Y pueden ver cómo no le gusta perder el precio y se cae bastante. Y eso es lo que nos hace pensar que probablemente estemos a punto de crear nuevos bajos en Rivian. Es muy importante poner atención a esto. En la semanal tenemos también, además de todo, el cruce de la 9 abajo del 21, lo que nos señala debilidad. Pueden ver eso también en lo que le pasó al precio y cómo siguió cayendo. Luego tuviste esta confirmación acá con este cierre definitivamente de esta vela. Y ahorita este cierre que te lo va a dar este cierre semanal te lo va a dar en 4 días y 4 horas, pero donde está tal cual, cualquier cierre arriba, abajo de 11.63 te está dando otra confirmación de esto. Vamos a ver rápidamente la diaria. En la diaria te puedes dar una mejor cuenta de todo esto. Habíamos platicado justo de el poder meter cada que el precio fuera a tocar el 21 a rechazar, y ese fue el último trade que dijimos que se veía bastante obvio junto con el del 9, y ahora tienes esto que estás flotando en medio de la nada. No has ni siquiera vuelto a retestear el 9 para poder hacer más shorts. Por este momento no hay nada que hacer, ni siquiera en temporalidades cortas. En la temporalidad corta, el 9 está por abajo del 21 y ni siquiera lo has ido a tocar. El retesteo está en 11.35. Entonces, muy probablemente esto tenga más camino para abajo. Tu primer objetivo a romper, si eres bajista, son los 10.96. Una vez que rompes los 10.96, tu segundo objetivo van a ser los $10. Bueno, en realidad tu segundo objetivo van a ser los 10.15. Si puedes aguantar los 10.15, chido, puede que estés creando un bajo más alto, pero si no, vas a los $10 y de ahí tenemos que ver si va a aguantar esa zona. Entonces, por ahora Rivian está en zona de nada, con mucha debilidad en el precio, momentum a la baja fuerte, así que con mucho cuidado a todos ustedes. Y por eso siempre digo, es importante aprender a hacer trades, porque no te vayas a quedar parado escuchando al pendejo del tío Salo que compró no sé qué y no sabes cuándo salirte. Ahora, mi Jonathan, espero que estés muy bien, mi queridísimo hermano. Gracias por ser miembro por tanto tiempo y gracias por estar acá, perro. Te mandamos un fuerte abrazo, un fuerte saludo, cabrón. Y habíamos visto, mi queridísimo Edgar Barrios, Solana and Farhan's got the key to salamis.
Pull it up.
The salami trade.
The salami trade. I had some salami this weekend.
Salami trade.
I'm getting hungry delicious. Salami.
We're all just fucking staring at the computer, saying salami, and the three of us getting hungry just by saying salami. Fucking incredible. Incredible. All right.
If you say salami 3 times in the mirror, Alberto shows up.
Pasta, pizza, pesto. By the way, you guys want to fucking die? Look up on your Instagram, Pesto, the penguin. There is I don't know if you guys watch Family Guy. Do you guys watch Family Guy by any chance?
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you remember an episode where Lois gave birth to Chris. It's just like a flashback. And it's like, woman is wrecked by the most gigantic baby born. And then it's Lois, and Chris is basically the same size as he is. And she's wrecked in bed. That's kind of like this fucking Pesto penguin. Pesto, he's a penguin down in Australia. Dude, he's bigger than his parents.
What?
It makes no sense. Pesto penguin. You'll find it instantly. PSTO. Either way, check it out if you can. It's fucking adorable and so funny because he's ugly too. Yeah, dude, he's enormous. He's enormous. He's enormous. Pesto the penguin. Ready. Sorry, Farin.
No worries. All right, so on the quarterly right now, we in this previous move down, we retested this 5 EMA again, and we bounced off of it, and also the 50% range. We are still rejecting this top meme line, but the HPDR momentum is pointed up, and it's within the bullish control zone, and volatility is supporting it as well. So what we're expecting from this next quarterly open is that that we hold this 5 EMA and that these ranges move up. And what we want to see is we want to see this blue 38.2% range move up somewhere around these two, this 5 EMA and this 9 EMA. And then the ranges will allow us to continue back towards the upside. And possibly within the next 6 months to 9 months, we can retest these previous all-time highs. If you go to the monthly right now, monthly momentum is going sideways, and the volatility is going sideways as well. So it's telling you that the move that we're getting all throughout here was corrective, and that while our oscillators reset, we should then afterwards expect another move back towards the upside. We are below the median right now, and the median is currently sitting at $319.11. As long as we close over this 5 EMA, our statistical probability is to go to retest this median. Because every single time Solana on the monthly closes over the 5 EMA, you get a move at the very least towards the median, but usually you get a move towards the top 38.2%, where you got it right here, and you close over the 5 EMA. You went this time since it was so early in Solana's history, this went to the 100% range. It's very unlikely that it does that right now. What's more likely is that it goes to the median. And if we can get a close over the median, then somewhere around the top 38.2%. Right now, the median is at new all-time highs at $319.11. And the top 38.2 level is so high, I'm not even comfortable saying
Don't say it. Don't say it. $613 for everyone. Everyone right now is long in, max long, and they're going to get fucked. That quarterly candle, dude, is the biggest doji I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it does not look pretty. But as long as we're holding the 5 EMA, though, it's not the worst.
No, it's good.
On the weekly, we closed over the median, and right now, what would be statistically likely is that because our momentum is shifting down and volatility is shifting down, we should get a retest of this median, which right now is at $152.34, and then we can use that as a nice springboard area to launch us towards the top 38.2%, which right now that number is at $208.77. Let's look at the RSI.
I miss the bing.
I know, right?
Yeah, I have no idea what happened to it. I'm glad this is gone, though.
You're just going to have to do it yourself now that we like it.
Ding.
Ding.
All right, so on the 5-day, we have confirmed drive of bullish divergence, and we're rejecting getting into the bearish control zone. So our first target, we've already hit it, the neutral zone, the middle zone. And then our next target, which right now it doesn't look like we're going to hit, is the bullish control zone. And the reason why it doesn't look like we're going to hit it is because we're getting this top candle right here, which is a shooting star red dildo. And if it closes like this, we're very likely to come back down to retest this moving average cross, which is right now at $146 roughly, give or take. And it's also a rejection of this golden pocket over here. But we're not getting very much divergences. Right now, that one's invalidated. Two-day has some confirmed hidden bullish divergence, and we're breaking back into the bullish control zone. But we are moving down right now, especially with this shooting star candle. That we should be looking somewhere around the edge of the bullish control zone to hopefully get a bounce there for the bull's sake. Because if you break below the bullish control zone, you're going back down towards the neutral zone. Right now, the bullish control zone number is at $150.30. So the daily, there's not much. So not really much you're getting from the RSI. Let's check the momentum chart.
¡Ping!
Ding! All right, so let's do the quarterly first. So quarterly, there's not enough data to get a momentum pivot. The monthly, though, the monthly pivot is going to turn back up as long as price is above $153.28, and it's going to stay within the bullish control zone as well. And it's holding the 9 EMA. The weekly momentum is going to be up as long as price is above $138.76, and it's going to be rejection of getting within the bearish control zone. And the 5-day is also strongly up as long as price is above $126. So right now we should be looking for consolidation because the volatility is going down, and while price is above the momentum pivots, based off of what the HPDR was telling us, that we should see a move towards $200 within the next couple of weeks. And if we can close over that area, then we'll get a move towards new all-time highs somewhere around that low $300 number that we're looking at.
I guess the only important thing is just not losing 126 in no matter what time frame. And most likely we're going to see bounces around the 150, 145 area.
Yeah, right around 145 to 150.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. I fucking understood everything you said. Okay. And then we'll finish with Alex's Cressy.
Perfect.
All righty. Vale, pues tenemos Solana, los Solamis, ¿cómo de que no? Por supuesto que sí, damas y caballeros. Y yo creo que esta es una tabla bastante fácil de ver. En todos los índices, en todas las temporalidades, los los indicadores de momentum y volatilidad de Farha nos dice que muy probablemente vayamos a consolidar por algunas semanas antes de nuestro siguiente movimiento, por ahí de los $200, tener varios cierres arriba de los 200, podríamos empezar a buscar nuevos máximos históricos. Por ahora pueden ver, esta es una tabla trimestral. Lo único que tenemos es el promedio de las 9 que populó. Estamos por encima de, ni siquiera lo venimos a testear, y eso está en los 105.64 en este momento. Solana está cotizando en 154.45 dólares por Solami. Ahora, de aquí vamos a la mensual. En la mensual acá es donde se pone algo interesante la cosa, porque lo que no queremos hacer es perder estos niveles. Básicamente, con aguantar encima de los 126, estamos creando bajos más altos, seguimos consolidando y eso nos puede ayudar a llevarnos a nuestros siguientes movimientos. Volteamos a ver en la de 2 semanas. Y en la de 2 semanas es un poco de lo mismo. Estamos por encima de la 9, venimos y nos agarramos del 21 que estaba en 133 para rebotar a la alza, y todos los demás indicadores potentes están aquí abajo. También tienes este gran cruce plateado que ha funcionado perfectamente cada vez que el precio toca la 9. Ahora sí que como un buen indicador de o corto o largo, y sobre todo estando encima es más o menos largo, solamente te ha dado 2 cortos básicamente. A menos de que puedas timear los demás muy súper bien, chido, tío. Ahora, en la semanal podemos ver esto, y más cerca en la semanal es interesante. ¿Por qué? Porque tienes el 9 por fin cruzando encima del 21, lo que señala e indica fuerza en el precio. Veniste a tocar solamente una vez el 55, que fue en este mega bajón a los $110, y sigues rankeando. Lo que tienes que asegurarte es que puedas hacer un alto más allá de los 163. Pero por ahora, con no perder, y probablemente vayas a buscar esta zona porque tienes la confluencia de estos promedios acá, por ahí de los 145, 147, para poder ver al precio hacer esto y después rebotar a la alza. Eso es lo que nos da los indicadores de momentum y volatilidad en este momento. En la diaria estás encima de todo, literalmente en este momento te está rechazando el 200, que de nuevo no es un sello de se acabó. Acá tienes un cruce plateado a la alza y probablemente vayas a retestear los 152, que es donde está la 9, pero de nuevo, aquí en los 147, 146, 145, que es la zona que habíamos puesto como zona de interés, están todos estos promedios, el del 100, el 21 y el 55, lo que probablemente haga que el precio venga a buscar eso, esa zona, hacer y luego más que el de antes. Entonces, ahí lo tienes por ahí. Y también analizamos la de los 5 días. La de los 5 días es interesante porque te está dando esta vela de tope que cierra en un día con 7 horas. Esta vela de tope y también tienes tus promedios, el 21 y el 55 en los 145, lo que digo, el 21 y el 9, lo que te hace pensar que muy probablemente vengamos para acá. Esta vela de tope asustaría a todo el mundo, sobre todo si venimos hasta acá, porque te daría validaciones de esto, de esta bajada. Y esta sería tu zona de oportunidad para hacer largos. Ya lo tienes. Eso es básicamente los solamis en este momento, damas y caballeros. Ready, 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 player one, son.
Perfect. I didn't even show the chart. All right, let me get the Cressy. What a weird name.
Cressy sounds like something you put on your vagina to make it not smell terrible.
I was thinking more like, for some reason, like a cheese or something you eat, but also that, you know.
You can also eat vaginas, Alex. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely.
So Cressy is to avoid all the crusty stuff. Oh, sorry. Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Anyways, okay. So this shirt's not the worst looking, actually. So like what we see here is kind of what we're getting. It reminds me of like Bitcoin, right? The daily SMA 200 was holding it down. We rejected it, rallied up, EMA 100 on the daily, then acts as resistance, reclaimed that, started rejecting this SMA 200, but not really getting followed through on the rejection, breaking above it, consolidating, now coming down at the 21, very close to the SMA 200 now. To me, I'm looking at this area right at $8.70 as a big zone for this chart. For me, you know, this is looking like a reclaim, and now we're back testing it again. We haven't actually back tested it since reclaiming it. We're just retesting it. And so for me, you know, I'm watching this zone. Ideally, if we're uber bullish on this chart, we would expect that this SMA 200 actually holds, which is telling me, okay, we either bounce here at this 21, which is kind of what we're getting now on the daily. But if we do start coming down more, I'm going to be all eyes on this SMA 200, because as history has shown us on this chart, you know, when it does get back above and then retest it, even on a mega rally like this, it came back and tested it. This was still an opportunity. And for me, that's kind of what I'm viewing here. We chopped around it, but big moves happened from this SMA 200. And that's kind of where we're at now, while also we see BBWP is hitting extremes to the downside, which, you know, is telling me once this gets back above 15%, we have a setup, which will give us a probable move as long as we are above this SMA 200 to break out to test this $10.24 region. You know, last time we had BBWP at extremes was in July 17th, and that's what kind of exacerbated this move all the way down. And so now we're getting it in a bullish manner. We have bullish structure here with higher highs, higher lows on the daily. Now we're just coming down and actually testing this zone. You know, so really watch carefully this $8.70 zone. If we don't hold this, then now we have to look at the EMA 100 at $8.46. The daily doesn't hold that, then in my opinion, I'll be very bearish on this chart, in my opinion, on the daily. And it'll be more likely that this momentum flips up while then making the move down more aggressive. But as it stands, if this starts flipping above 15%, you know, how this is looking, we should get a big bounce from here. And so that's on the daily. Now if we go to the weekly, you know, what is also lining up right around that SMA 200, maybe that EMA 100 on the daily, is also the weekly 9. You know, if we actually view this just like what I'm saying on the daily, we can look at it on a weekly. And the difference here with BBWP is, you know, after hitting extremes, we're getting that expansion, and it's confirmed, you know, now that we're at 20%. And so we have to then look at that as a potential opportunity, which is right around the 9, you know, as support. And so that, again, is lining up with my daily thesis that, you know, we definitely can come down a little bit more. But overall, this spot, SMA 200, is the area we'd want to hold. And it's lined up nicely with almost the weekly, right at $8.60, which is the weekly 9. So, we definitely could front run it because in my opinion, it's a very big spot we're at the daily here. This is like bull market 101. We want to be above the 100 and then the 200. And we want this 200 to keep holding as support. That way, then we can get this 100 above the 200. And then, it just validates the support in my opinion. So definitely in a bounce zone now. The 21 doesn't hold. All eyes here at $8.79. Let's go to so now is the weekly. I'm not really seeing much with the crosses or whatnot on the moving averages. You can argue the weekly 9's now above the 21, which is welcomed. I was trying to go through the chart overall on the daily. We do have a silver cross here on the daily. So then we would expect the 21 now to hold, especially if we're losing the 9. The 2-day, I do believe, had one as well, fresh as well. So, this was a fresh silver cross to the upside. So we'd expect then this 9 to hold on the 2-day. If not, then again, plays into what I'm saying. Second spot to bid is this 21, which is nice confluence with the weekly 9. The 3-day, also, silver crossing right here. And this is actually 3-day, this 9 actually kind of lines up more nicely with the SMA 200, the weekly EMA 9. And so that is currently at $8.68. So why am I showing you this? Because we're getting a silver cross on the 3-day, the 2-day, the 1-day. We're now getting a pullback after making a high here. And so this pullback should be welcome to bulls, and we should be looking at this test of the 9 on the 3-day, 2-day, and daily as an opportunity. And if that doesn't hold on the daily, then we have to look at the 21. And so for me now on the 3-day, we definitely still can come down more. From here to there, it's still a 1.7% move. But for overall, we would expect this region to kind of hold. And so, for what I'm saying, especially with the silver cross, ideally then we get a wick to the 34. That would retest the 3-day, the 2-day, and then daily 34 while retesting the 2-day and 3-day EMA 9. And then, can give us a nice bounce while maybe causing BBWP to start expanding. Kind of like what we were waiting for with Rivian. It would be, it was at extremes. We talked about, it's just on the flip side. So the rejection zone, if we start rejecting on Rivian, it would cause BBWP to flip up. Now on the flip side here, this is the bounce zone. So like if bulls really want to step in, it would be right around this area, comes down a little bit more, traps more shorts, maybe comes all the way down to here, and then big move up. And then we get the expansion of this like that. Once it goes above 15%, we know that this momentum is now expanding. And that is kind of the bull thesis right now. And it would be wise to view this because we know the daily trend is up. When we view the monthly too, the monthly is looking pretty good. The monthly basically now is reclaiming the EMA 100 and the monthly 9, something it hasn't been able to do since it lost it here in June. And so that is a very welcoming sign. I do like how basically this 9 will keep moving up. Ideally, in the next closure, this 9 flips up a little bit closer to what we're talking about, $8.60. $8 because right now, it's right now at $8.46. This 9 is on the monthly. So ideally, this moves up a little bit more. And now we have a lot of confluence of this bounce zone that I'm talking about here. So, overall, wouldn't be bearish on this. I'd be cautiously bullish and waiting for that throwback to maybe then give us a spring. If we do then actually get a bounce from this 9, this SMA 200 on the daily, and then actually get back above the 9, while BBWP's now at 15-16%. To me, that's a great sign that there's a breakout happening. The move we just back tested it. This was the opportunity zone. And for me, I'll be watching that, especially correlated with BBWP expanding. We then have to start looking at this $10.26 zone. For me, I'll be bearish if we start losing this EMA 100. So it's very straightforward. It's something more of a waiting game. We want to see where this monthly 9 goes to. And then ideally, this SMA 200 consolidates, and then, we start moving up, causing this to expand. Very straightforward, 2 levels. Watch the daily SMA 200, watch the EMA 100 on the daily. it can kind of get all the chop and noise off. You don't have to wait for a 2 week, 3 week, 3-day, 5-day. You just watch the daily. We know, okay, if the SMA 200 is lost, cool. Now we have to wait for the EMA 100. Oh, okay, cool. We didn't fully dump to the EMA 100, but we just reclaimed the SMA 200. Cool. Now it's a bullish deviation. Let's just long the back test on that and move up. So very easy, very straightforward. You only get really wrecked if you're just impatient. And right now things are slowly flipping and churning. Bulls have control of Pressy. So that's all I have about that.
Motherfucking perfect. Is there anything else you boys like to add before we go? And I'll let you guys go. I'll do this one and also a shameless plug.
Cool. No, great stream. Tune in. I know the Crown interview stream is also on the channel now, so just tune in and view that. It's on. I retweeted the tweet too. So overall, good Monday stream. Looking forward to Wednesdays.
Same, my brother. You're muted.
Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry.
No. I was gonna say that's how we're gonna close it, Farhan. That's it, with you muted.
Talking to yourself.
At least I realized it, though. But it was a great stream. Enjoyed having Crown on.
Yeah. No, thank you, boys, for bringing him. He's a G. So appreciate it. That was fun. And we'll make that stream available to everyone, and especially to members of the Elite Trading Academy too, whenever they want to see it. And we'll bring more guests, and it'll be interesting if people can tell us what they like, what they'd like to know more, what they'd like to hear from these people about. Because I just don't want to go into a podcast where we're just interviewing someone based on what they already did. I want to bring some useful information for you guys, especially people that are starting to trade. So I think with that in mind, we'll be great.
We have lined up potentially have a totally different system than me and Farhan. It seemed like a service to have Crown just do an analysis because we can get that from Farhan. But like when we have other guests, it'll be nice to get that different perspective on. Maybe they only have a Fibonacci system, or maybe they use something totally different we've never heard about. Just all that output, So I'm looking forward to the future. It's quite bullish. So
yeah. Likewise, boys. All righty. Have a good one. I'll see you in the chat, and see you soon. Bye. Vale, pues, y aquí tenemos Crazy, que suena bastante extraño, pero bueno, lo vamos a tomar por lo que es. No voy a traducir en español mi mal chiste. Algo que queremos ver acá en la diaria y que estamos viendo es básicamente esta tendencia alcista. Tuviste esta desviación acá, pero estás creando esto y mucha gente dirá, bueno, pues este fue un bajo más bajo que el pasado, ¿no? Digamos que y este fue un alto más bajo que el de acá. Entonces, ¿dónde estamos parados? Básicamente, y estamos viendo temporalidad diaria, es esto. ¿Quieres que el precio aguante por toda la confluencia que tenemos? La zona de los 8.70. ¿Por qué? Te voy a aprender todos mis demás indicadores para que los puedas ver y te des cuenta que a los 8.50 básicamente es acá donde está el promedio de la 100 y los 55. Estás justamente ahorita en los 8.80, que es donde está el 21. Está cotizando, crece en 8.82 y el promedio de la 100 está en los 8.70. Ahora, si me voy a la semanal, puedes ver que el promedio de la 9 está subiendo. Este cierre va a hacer que también suba, está en 8.60, 8.50 el del 21. Hay mucha confluencia en esta zona. Vamos a voltear a ver la de 5 días. En 5 días, lo mismo, 8.56 con el 9, 8.50 casi con el del 21. Y cuando volteamos a ver la mensual, podemos ver ahí, justamente en los 8.50, básicamente está nuestro promedio de la 9. Entonces, estamos buscando simplemente que nos diga la tabla qué es lo que quiere hacer. Viéndolo en la semanal, te da una bastante buena idea de que probablemente venga máximo a recargarse, ya sea en el 200 y continuar para arriba, o tal vez en esta zona donde están juntos el 100, el 55 y de ahí irse para arriba, no rompiendo estructura de nada, creando mínimos más altos, nuevos altos más altos, y obviamente para poder tener una confirmación de aquello, lo único que tienes que hacer es romper los 9.50. Una vez que rompes los 9.50, tu siguiente objetivo son los 10.24. Pero de acuerdo a los indicadores que está usando Alex, al indicador de momentum y volatilidad, estamos viendo que la volatilidad va a respaldar el movimiento que se está dando en este momento. Tenemos que asegurarnos de que el movimiento no vaya a ser a la baja. ¿Cómo nos aseguramos de ello? Simplemente no perdiendo esta zona de los 8.50. Si empiezas a ver cierres abajo de los 8.50, en Creci muy probablemente nos vayamos abajo de los 6.27, podamos romper esto sin problemas, pero por ahora tiene cara de ser bastante alcista, estando encima de todos los promedios, sobre todo recuperando el 200, que le gusta estar por encima del 200, y cuando está por encima del 200 le gusta subir bastante. Simplemente tienes que asegurarte que esto no es una desviación, y una desviación me refiero a que haga esto y vuelva a caer bajo los 200, y ahí lo tienes, damas y caballeros. Para todos ustedes que quieren unirse por acá, dense una vuelta al Discord, les dejé el enlace en la parte de abajo, en el About, para que puedan, es completamente gratis, vengan a platicar en el chat general con absolutamente todos, vengan a ver los análisis de Alex, los de Farhan, también puedes ver todas las tarjetas de ganancias, pérdidas de la comunidad, vengan a pedirnos tablas, vengan a usar nuestros enlaces por si quieren también hacer trading con futuros de Bitcoin, de Ethereum, Solana, cualquier criptomoneda, acá lo tienen en BitGet, lo tienen en Bluffing, es absolutamente gratis y además te dan bonos usando nuestros enlaces y podrás participar en todas las cosas de la comunidad. También tenemos $15 de descuento en TradingView si es que quieres comprar algún programa pagado, pero también recuerda que TradingView ofrece cosas gratis, por lo que no necesitarías ahí nuestro enlace. Y por alguna razón aquí tenemos el nuevo enlace de BitGet. Vale, pues ahí lo tienen todo. Damas y caballeros, eso fue lo que tuvimos el día de hoy. Gracias a todos por unirse. Les vamos a traer muchas más cosas, más invitados, y queremos simplemente empezar a traerles más valor a todos ustedes para que pues, aprendan con nosotros, ¿no? Y sobre todo en estos tiempos donde el abrir un negocio toma tanto y los mercados te están escupiendo tantas ganancias, ¿por qué no aprovechar? Y también importante para todas las personas, en mi opinión, si quieres llegar a algún lado, tienes que hacer lo mismo que todo el mundo, chingarte trabajando durísimo, comer nepe no gastando nada, ahorrando y después pasar esos ahorros a inversión, ya sea bienes raíces, ya sea inversiones en acciones, etcétera. Y esto es una muy buena manera de poder invertir a mediano, largo, corto plazo, donde espero que a todos ustedes les vaya muy bien y que lo hagan con paciencia. Les mando un abrazote, nos vemos en un rato, cuídense mucho y gracias por estar en el casino del tío Salo. Hasta la vista, baby.